everyone, hope everything is going well. Today we have here Steve Splenda, and we're going to get on LT later on. Ziggy unfortunately had something going on, so he couldn't make it last minute, and he's the one that suggested us hosting it tonight, ironically.
Yeah, what is that about?
Yeah, I have no idea. But Steve, what's going on, man? How's it going?
Not much, brother. Enjoying the birthday weekend, the St.
Oh yeah,
Patty's
that's right.
weekend, the March
Happy
Madness.
birthday.
It's been a lot going on. I really haven't done much though. Just watch basketball and eat
Okay.
fish sandwiches.
Okay, nice. So I don't know if I told you this, but a lot of times I've had you on um, in LT and Hobby. My videos always get demonetized, but I don't care.
I
This
was
is
gonna
what
say,
that
there's no way you're making money with me on.
with us. Yeah, the conversations we have. I mean, there's no way. We have to talk in code. We have to be like the P files
I was
in
gonna
charge.
say, you pretty much have to talk like it's
Talk in code.
yeah. The
Right.
algorithms are against us.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk in code. David Fru says, Mimi first, where's the shark? I think he's watching UFC tonight. I didn't even text him tonight for this. I think we're going to do a larger live stream sometime in April. I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, so. Chris C says, my hobby does the hanky panky. Yup. JMF collectibles. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Exactly.
That's facts.
Exactly. JMF says, I'm just asking questions. Blaze One says, let's go. Randy, I hear all the banks are tanking harder than the prices of cardboard, so I withdraw all the money from my bank account and spend it all to Chicago. Spectacular. Good move. Am I right? Hello, conspiracy theorists. Hello, tinfoil hat crowd.
I know. I love it.
Yeah. Any recent blowback from the card porn videos? Not really. I've heard a lot of things about it, but they've changed the content. Have you seen a total change in content? Like when I was doing videos on it, they had a slight change, bias towards collectors holding, but now I don't see too much bias unless I'm missing something. I'm blocked on IG.
I don't know what to make of it, dude. They're one way a year ago, then they changed like 8 months ago, and now I don't know what to believe. I just, after all the conversations we've had and the stuff I've learned, it's like I just feel like there's multiple entities involved with this. There's no consistency, so that makes me kind of question what is going on.
Yeah, like Hobby Shark, we were in a same text group, and then Hobby Shark was saying that he had someone run the IP of card porn, and he alleges from his buddy that the account is in New York, or a lot of the action going on is in New York. And who's in New York? Nat Turner. So I'll have to ask Hobby about that before.
Yeah, it's a shame he couldn't make it this weekend.
Yeah, no.
He'd have gotten the crowd all wound up. He'd have got the people going, as Will Ferrell would say. But yeah, he was breaking it down a little bit. That was interesting. Real interesting.
Will Greyer is a sound investment.
You know what? Based off of a lot of the percentages that he's lost on other cards that he's made big boy purchases on, Will Greer might not be his worst take. I think Sports Card Radio said something about that in one of their videos this week or last week. I can't remember. But
yeah, they actually.
Oh, go ahead.
They bought what is it called? A Will Greyer card, and they made money off of it. They're showing
and to be honest with you, Sports Card Radio probably has more to do with that card value than even Will Greer or Jeff Wilson. The fact that they've used it as like a total like troll, like I guarantee you somebody in the hobby was like, I want a Will Greer RPA because Jeff Wilson was talking his shit. I mean, Why else would anybody buy Will Greer at this point?
If you get it autoed, I wonder what happened to the value.
I mean, maybe a family member of his. Like, I know some guys collect their own cards and stuff, but other than Will Greer himself, who's buying Will Greer cards? It has to be because of the sports card radio troll. I swear. I give
Probably.
credit to them.
Probably. All right, let's get into some of the topics. Oh, and Dan the card man, he says hello might pop on later, organizing lunch. Yeah, just DM me. I'm gonna be checking my DM, so if you can make it, LT's gonna come on, so feel free to join us. I don't know how long we're gonna go on,
Out,
but
Dan.
Yep, he's making some great content lately.
Yeah, man, he's fantastic. I'm glad he joined us last time. That was
yeah, that's good.
Ass like me. I'm just happy to be in the room with all the smart guys. Just get drug along.
All right, non-conspiracy talk for a little bit. College basketball is going on. Have you been watching the games?
Yeah, man, that's all I've been doing. Birthday and St. Patty's Day, and I haven't gone out once. I've just been laying around watching basketball, trying to gather myself from the work week. It's been a lot of hours, and I know you were saying you were short-staffed, but yeah, man, I've been watching a lot of games, a lot of fun stuff. Purdue went down to as a number one seed, which is second time in history. Virginia did it a few years ago. I want to say
something like that.
5 years ago. Virginia also lost again. They were a 4 seed, lost to a 12 the other night. It's been fun. Kansas went down today to Arkansas. It's that's what we were talking about before we hopped on. I was like, where the hell's Bill Self? I thought, like, is he retired or something? Because he wasn't at the game, but something you said, tightness in the chest or something.
Yeah, so some heart issues. And yeah, we're just talking about, like, hey, the U of I team from 2004. And,
yeah,
they had, Bruce Weber, but that was actually Bill Self's team.
So. Yeah, funny is I remember calling that Final Four. What up, LT?
So,
what up?
I remember that Final Four team because Michigan State being in the Big Ten, that's who I know I'm wearing a Notre Dame.
Right.
I'm a real inconsistent fan. I'm all over the place, but I love Michigan State basketball. I love Tom Izzo. But they went to the Final Four that year too, and they battled it out in the Big Ten all year that year. It was Michigan State and Illinois. And those were, both teams were just loaded with, not NBA dominant guys, but for college, they were loaded, man.
And I think U of I, they had a few players too. I think what was his name? Darren Williams.
He was big time. He went pro. He was big time.
Yeah, he played with Utah. Yeah,
there. And then there was Luther Head.
Yeah. And the center.
There was a few other guys. Yeah, they had a few other good guys on that team. I was more familiar with the Michigan State roster because those are my guys. I remember them three, man, because they could all handle the ball and they could all score, stretch the court. They were a tough out. But I think it was Illinois, Louisville, North Carolina, and Michigan State that year in the Final Four.
Yeah, I think that was it. LT, what's going on, man?
What's up, gentlemen?
My
brothers, my card bad boys. It's only half the crew.
We needed you in here, man. It was lonely.
Only half the crew, man. It's only half of it. It's all good. Man, do I have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's an honor to be with you guys. I hope you like my my pronoun, Raul.
AIH fanboy.
Yep, that's me. And shout out to Dope Cards, by the way. I love you, Dope Cards. I'm waiting for you to respond back to me. Actually, you left a pretty nice comment in your stream.
Yeah, it was a nice comment. Yeah,
I was actually surprised. And then someone commented, and I thought it was his boyfriend, and it actually turned out to be a guy that likes my stuff. And then he's like, "I actually like your stuff." So I guess he was messing with me. So that's cool.
Yeah, the other dude messes with me too. So have you been watching any college basketball or not really, LT?
Yeah, so I'm kind of conflicted because I'm I hate SC, so that's where Steve might
get along. Michigan State beat SC yesterday. Let's fucking go.
I'm anything against USC. I'm a UCLA fan. I actually went to EMT school there. I had 2 cousins graduate from UCLA, so I wouldn't consider myself alumni because I graduated from Syracuse, so that's actually my school. So that's why I told Steve, love to mellow. Oh, Dope Cards is in here, man.
Man.
Guy. I gotta give it to him. He's in here. But yeah, Syracuse is my school that I actually graduated from. The UCLA would be, I guess, my home school, and I have two of my cousins graduated from there. But to answer your question, I'm not caught up with the March Madness because I kind of go from football, and then once football's over, I get ready for Dodger season, and then I kind of shift. I don't really pay attention to the March Madness, I guess, because I think just people they're all about the gambling aspect, right? Because that's the whole thing with the whole bracket stuff. So it's just like fantasy football. I'm not saying it's like it, but I'm saying is that's what people get excited about. They don't care. I mean, if you really cared for it, you'd be watching all season, right? So,
Right.
Just my thought process, but yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. There's a lot of card talk this week.
Of course.
Yes. What did you have in mind first? You said you wanted to talk a lot, LT.
Oh man. So it feels like a natural conversation because the three of us, and we got Ziggs and Hobby, and sometimes Dan. We have our normal day-to-day stuff, but I'm starting to notice a trend that people are really starting to like our stuff, and I'm noticing it in different comments and whatnot. But I'm starting to see that the information that we all kind of bring together is, I don't like to use the term watchdogs and gatekeepers and all what everyone's saying, right? But it's nice to hear when you're getting credit for stuff, right? I'm not saying that we know everything in cards, but we're using our personal relationships, our card knowledge when we're talking to other people, and just kind of bringing it together. But I definitely found it interesting. If you guys recall, and I shared that text earlier, which I keep confidential, from one of my buddies who spoke about the card influencers, right? And this individual went to the Chicago show. We know Dallas was last weekend. And I've heard from now, and then he pretty much confirmed it, how fake these influencers are on and off camera. And he didn't share a lot of the details, but it's kind of like the stuff that I told you, that these influencers, just like a movie or WWE, they use the cameras as they use it as a propeller, right? To get that, ooh, look at all this stuff, just like the CBS Santiago fight or whatever, or hey, look at this grill. Like, let's take an example, that superfractor card thing. And I know Steve will be laughing about that aspect, that freaking Job of the Hutt guy. I saw Curator and Daps, not too sure what Prism got, but they're talking about that superfractor. And I'm like, this dude is a Job of the Hutt bastard, like, assistant, so it's like, what is so exciting about that superfractor, right? It's strictly a pump card, right? But just using that as an example, but hearing from other people that actually go to card shows, and then you're hearing like, F these influencers, like, these guys are doing, they want to lowball deals, they're douches in person. I haven't like I said, not my words, I'm hearing this from other people. It's interesting to hear how these big influencers, how other people in the card hobby are getting annoyed, of it. But that's why I shared on Dan's channel. I was like, well, if you're in bed with these big guys, right, you listen to daddy, right, your sponsorship, but you do everything as you do on camera, right? But then you're a completely different person off camera. So I found that interesting, hearing it from a couple of my buddies who went to the shows. And I think Chicago, I don't know if you got a chance to go, Raul, but I think it's going on this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's this weekend. I couldn't make it. But what specifically do you think they were talking about? Like, that were they just being rude? Were they condescending? Were they just standoffish? Like, what do you mean by
I
this? What
think
some people are
if
going to
I
be
were to
thinking?
take those words, and I think Steve can have some backing, not throwing Steve in the spotlight per se, but I know Steve is in that Midwest area, and I know that there's a couple influences there, right, that you guys see. But I share with you guys the influences I see in Southern California, and I'm not going to say who I'm affiliated with or who I'm cool with, right? Because I'm not tied in that aspect, right? I'm my own man. But we know how these influencers are a certain way, they're on camera, but then off camera, you hear how they are with actual people, right? And so to answer your question is, I think they have that large than life aspect, right? To where they sit there, we'll take the Curator example, right? My best friend, your best friend. They think that when they go into a card show, everything just stops. Look at me, guys. It's me, right? I think that's one aspect, right? Where they sit there, they're like a celebrity, like a LeBron James, right? But you're just a dude that sells, or gal that sells cardboard, and you just happen to be backed by Fanatics or whoever, right? And so you have this clout, or you have your paid bots, right? But you got your people following you around, right? And whoever is idolizing you, that's on your little streams or whatever, right? But in person is completely different, right? And so I think that's one aspect, right? But then you have the other part to where, did we freeze? Okay. Yeah. So then, and then the deals. I've heard the deals are never as they seem on camera, right? Because it's all about to get the attention, right? Okay. So I'm sure obviously they pre-game and said, hey, let's talk this out, and then we'll capture this deal, right? Because that's what's going to it's going to benefit both parties, right? But it's kind of the same deal where you're going around and people that are selling cards don't want to be on camera, right? And I'm sure Steve will back me up here. I don't know how it is from the Midwest. I'm sure it's the same aspect, but in Southern California, a lot of these influencers, the card people have done this forever. They're not fans of it, and they think that it hurts the hobby more. So I hope that answers the question.
Steve, have you noticed this same phenomenon? I mean, you go to shows more often than me. I avoid shows because things are still overpriced as of this moment, and I personally like buying cards online, to be honest. So, Steve, what have you noticed? Any similarities?
So I have a group of guys in the Midwest. I know some influencers out this way, some better than others. I'm not really close with anybody who does like the show vlogs. Like when I go to the Indiana shows or a bigger show in Ohio or trade nights, like I'm cool, like Neo, somebody like Neo's got a channel, but like you're never gonna see Neo like get behind a camera at a show and like start doing deals and kind of like vlogging that stuff. So I don't know. I kind of noticed the guys who are at shows doing that stuff. Yeah, there's a distaste from people who, and it does. I mean, I have my personal opinions, but like I do think there's a general feel where a lot of guys do kind of look at that and they're like, man, this is corny. It's weird. Like like LT was kind of saying, there's probably a good amount of people that are like, I'm really not that comfortable doing deals on camera. Now, I've been at like the Fisher show and like I've done deals on CC2's, at his table at the Fisher show on camera. And like I'm comfortable in front of the camera. And to be honest, totally good interaction. I didn't feel like I was under any like spotlight or like the gun was to my head or anything. But then you got guys who just like walk around with the cameras and they're cameraman, and it's, I don't know. I mean, know.
Doesn't CC2
you don't feel it's authentic?
What's that?
I mean, you said that you did a deal with CC2, but doesn't CC2 go around with the camera?
Well, the time it was at his table, and he just kind of had a camera behind the table. It wasn't like he was going around. Now, I've seen him at shows where he does do that. I mean, that's part of his content where he'll show you, he'll go around. I kind of appreciate, I mean, I might not do it that way with a camera, but from my experience being around him, like I don't know him that well. He seems really fair. I've watched a lot of his videos. He's not going to like, I don't know. I've seen some guys where it's like, man, they'll just haggle you, and they have the camera right there. And it's like, if I was a dealer, I might not be comfortable in that situation. And like, this is where I'd say CC2's his own thing. He can walk up to most tables and spend the amount of money where it's like, I can understand why he gets 70% off. Like if you're spending 10 grand, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to like talk on his name, but when you spend that type of money, because I've set up as a dealer at shows, like, and the more money somebody spends with me, yeah, I got more leverage and more room to work with you. The guys who want one or two cards and they have the camera on you and they're trying to like leverage a deal off two cards, and that to me does seem a little corny, but everybody's got their taste, because there are some guys who vlog at shows that I really do enjoy. And they're transparent with the way they do business. But yeah, the time I was on at Fisher's show in Indiana, it was CC2 had a booth set up, and that's, you know, he had his cameraman behind the table, interactions throughout the weekend, and to me, I don't know. It's hard to say like, oh, I'm against cameramen, or I'm for cameramen. It's all in the person and how you go about it. I think some people may take advantage of it. I think some people generally do want to show what's going on and maybe have informative content. But I understand where you're coming from, LT. I've heard a lot of people that say, you know, once they turn that camera off, it's not the same person you're dealing with. And
Jeff Wilson.
I saw that at Fisher's too. I'm not going to say any names, but like I saw that at Fisher's, where guys who were there with their cameras, and it's like when the camera was off, it's just like they're not very personable. They're not very engaging. It seems like once the camera light comes on, it's like then the fluff comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be the same on camera and off camera. That's just how I am. And that's the content I have. You know, sometimes it could just be, you know, just me talking like this, and sometimes I'm just going to be screaming at the mic, you know. You see what you get. But
yeah. No. Yeah. No, this is great. I think it's kind of nice having the three of us, because it's you know, start with you, me, Raul, and then here we can kind of talk amongst each other on the topic. I think with the I don't think it's not to bash on all influencers, because there are some guys that I like, and I agree with Steve. There are some, like, I like Card Collector too. I like the way he does his stuff, but you know, he's an LCS, he's a content creator, and he goes and he does the dollar boxes, right? So he is about the business aspect, but he also has trade nights for kids, and I'm huge on that stuff, and it's he is pretty beloved in that part with the card stuff, right? And then you take someone like Curator, who is just absolutely cringe-worthy, that nobody likes him. I mean, it's just hilarious to me.
Murley likes him.
Nobody likes him. Well, yeah, Murley likes him, but in Southern California, I have not came across one person that likes that guy. And with his bots and his backing by Jeff Wilson and whoever he's in bed with, he's pumped into that stratosphere to where he can't be touched, because you know he's the positivity guy, right? But we know we can go into days how fake that dude is, right? Just take an example, right? And then there's a guy like I like that's Up North Collectors. I told you guys about it. I think he's up in Minnesota.
I can't. I'm trying to think. I know that name, but I can't picture.
Yeah, he's a cool kid, dude. He's like he's in his early 20s, and he just moved to his shop. And I'm trying to do I want to do an interview with him, because I really like his stuff.
Is he in Michigan by chance?
He's somewhere up north. I don't know exactly the state, but I respect the hell out of him, because he started up his shop probably a year or two ago, and he's videotaped it, and it's progressed really nicely. But he's coming up nicely on his card content for sure. And, you know, there's Chris. I mean, I don't know, Steve, you know, Raul and I are big fans of him, but Chris, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, that guy he's not even, he's against the influencer type thing. I mean, he said it on my channel, and he's just a genuine guy that loves cards, but then, you know, what is he? He's a collector and then investor dealer after, right? But I think, like, I was talking to someone about it, and we have this discussion. The influencers are the ones with the Fanatics inevitable takeover, if it get monopolizes. The influences are essentially henchmen, right? They're going to be the ones that are going around and pumping the shit out of the cards, right? And whoever they can influence, get their following, that's the ones that Fanatics is going to be putting their money into. Would we agree there? I mean, that's the way I see the direction going with the influencer market and Fanatics. That's why I think everyone's trying to jump on that. And then, like I said, a couple of LCSs I've talked to in the area, they've already told me behind closed doors, I already got a deal from Fanatics. And that tells me that means you're set. Your card shop is protected because you have the Fanatics, right? But the other LCS is long term, I don't know where they're going to go. You know, that's what we had these discussions before.
They're going to be taking their shirt off like those chicks and then showing cards. Conversations we have all the time. Steve, I can trigger Steve right now into saying something that will get this video demonetized, but I would definitely, maybe we'll save that for later in the show. But I think you were talking about these Oh yeah, Fanatics and being a monopoly. So I consider right now, yeah, Fanatics is a monopoly, but then on the other hand, collectors holdings or whatever they're called right now. I mean, they have a huge control of the ideas that come about. I mean, look at how many people are doing work with them,
Yeah.
publicly. I mean, I've said it, all the names before. And then I've said that, hey, card porn is most likely associated with them. And then now I think I sent you earlier this She Breaks. Like
Yeah.
she's doing content for Golden now, I believe.
Yeah,
And
she had the braid. What was it? The $500,000 card or something that she was on up the two or
yeah,
something?
she had some pretty nice cards, and she said these are on Golden. And then she is like talking to Mojo in the video and a few other influencers, I think. So yeah, I think that it's just gonna be what, two monopolies going after each other. What is it? Fanatics versus the collector's brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's where all the influencers are gonna go. Some people we like, and some people that we do not like at all.
Bob Buso.
She
A nice one.
breaks. Play a please.
That's
She
a Steve
broke.
comment.
I mean, she isn't as bad as like some of these other cringe female content creators.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, like
You mean
at
she doesn't
least
show
with
her body
the
off?
road- What
It's-
happened?
She doesn't show her body off.
Yeah, she puts some clothes on, so I
Yeah.
respect that. She isn't like showing what her cleavage like all these
No.
other female Pokemon influencers. Like they're holding these Pokemon cards, and then you could see a zoom into their cleavage. So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
find it quite interesting. No one's gonna call it out in the hobby because, oh, you're a sexist.
Well, yeah, you have to pump up women in the hobby because that's the new market phrase. But you can't just say it's like, yeah, a lot of these chicks, they're just showing off their tits.
Wouldn't pump be considered borderline sexual harassment? I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it to a girl. If you're saying
Yeah.
it to a girl, okay. But like between us, I mean, if what about the girls that open the cards with those long?
I gotta agree
nails?
with dope. That's annoying, man.
Is
I
that
don't know.
just
I don't
an
watch
attention
girls
grab?
open up cards. I gotta be honest. Like, women don't come into my hobby spectrum very often, and I've said
Ooh, I
enough
like
about
trading
all
cards
this
in
in the
Mortal.
past. I don't know. It's so conflicting. Like, and again, this isn't all women, but it's like you're gonna
Right.
like you guys were saying, you're gonna wear these revealing clothes. You're gonna like filter the shit out of your face on all these selfies and post pictures of you in the card.
Yeah.
It's like, just take the
They
card
know what they're
away.
doing.
Get on OnlyFans, girl. Just do you. You know what you want to be doing.
Yep.
Like, you don't give a shit about these cards.
No.
And if I were real actual women hobbyists in this hobby, I'd be pissed. Be like, why are these OnlyFan hoes like, this is not a good look.
Yeah,
Yep.
but then once again, all the guys that are sponsored, they won't say crap.
You're gonna have simps, bro. You're gonna have simp ass men. They're gonna be like, "Oh my god, you're so cool for the hobby and girls, women of the hobby. Yes, queen." It's just fucking so
Well-
corny. It's like, grow some balls and be like, "Listen, I'm not messing with this horse shit. I'm gonna get lit up in my DMs."
No, you're not, dude. Because
Again, I'm not talking. It's not all women of the hobby. It's just
no, of course not.
the ones with the big accounts and everybody sharing stuff. It's like, we know what's going on, and it's like,
Yeah.
shut
We're
up
not
and
dumb.
blindly support these girls. And it's like, no.
Well,
No.
here's what it comes down to. People obviously like the stuff as we've come together. Raul's been doing this forever, right? And I'm kind of slowly getting up there. And then we have Steve, we have Hobby, Zig's been doing this forever. But people come here for barbershop talk, as you referenced to, Steve, because they want to hear the real shit. They don't want to hear this Mickey Mouse shit, rainbow stuff where it's fucking covered up, right? We're giving our analysis, and we're just talking it fucking real talk, right? And it's like these women know exactly what they're doing with these big card shows. Just take Daps, who asks everyone to sleep with them, right? But he has these fucking car import models, right there, because sex sells, right? And these girls here who come here who don't know shit about cards, they're obviously selling to a hobby that is what 90% males, right? That haven't even touched a girl probably in ages, right? And they know exactly what they're marketing to. So I can't hate on the hustle, man. You know, I mean,
Hey, listen, I'm not against anybody making their money, but like I'm gonna call balls and strikes. It's like, are you about the hobby or are you about your OnlyFans? I'm just gonna say, and
right?
it's like if
Yeah,
you're just making it clash for the capitalism, I'm not, do your thing, but it's like I'm still allowed to say,
exactly.
what you're doing. It's like you're not fooling anybody, and if that's how you make your money, that's how you're gonna make your money.
You know what's so annoying with a lot of these positively influencer stuff? It's like, oh, the card hobby, the hobby, and the weed. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, get the
Dude,
fuck out of here with
I
that shit.
agree.
You know what? I'm not using that fucking reference, bro. You
We
know,
need to
like this
grow
is
the hobby. We need to
the hobby,
grow
the
the
positivity. Get the
hobby.
fuck out of here, bro. Get out of
Why do
here
we
with
need to
that shit,
grow
man.
anything? It's like it's not my job. It's not anybody's job. It's not for
Exactly.
anybody. Even if you're sponsored, it's not your job to grow the hobby.
Hey, so I don't know if you have it on your topics, Raul, but I wanted to ask you
Yeah.
the whole thing with radio and Jeff Wilson, sports card radio and Jeff Wilson, because we're gonna have to talk about it. So it got pretty heated this week, but I know the whole theory and we had this discussion before, like I'm choosing my words wisely because I like sports card radio. And obviously I don't like Jeff Wilson. But did you guys see more like, all right, now radio has really gone after Jeff Wilson, and then they put that thing on Instagram, hey, we demand an apology from you, right? Type thing. What do you guys think with that stuff with radio and Jeff Wilson?
You could go, Steve, first.
I think I don't know, man. You just can't mess with sports card radio like that. Like I don't know what Jeff was thinking sending that like threatening law. Like I don't.
What happened with Umu?
Listen. I personally laugh at Jeff Wilson's content. I enjoy it for like going to the movies. Like it's entertaining. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just so in deep now that it's like and sports card radio is just going to keep checking boxes. It's like every time you make a left turn, we're going to be right there.
Yeah.
We're going to get you because of the stupid shit you said. It's all out there. Like I respect sports card radio, but man, Jeff is making their job really easy.
Well, I think
and they're like just laughing to the piggy bank off this dude. Like, we're just going to keep viewers. We're going to keep doing our thing in this hobby. You're going to keep us relevant because you're threatening us with law. And it's like,
well, what happened with
I think
Umu?
it's absolutely hilarious that the way they broke down that law, talk about all the successful investments he has and Dibs already has done. And it's like, dude, you're just like, you are putting golf. I think it's Ryan who's always at the golf course. They are putting golf balls on golf tees for these brothers, and Jeff's face is on every golf ball, and they're just wow. I mean, just shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. You got 2 ears and one mouth. Shut the fuck up. Like I don't understand. Like, do some of these guys not hear the outside noise going around? Like, it's like, dude, people are going to be making fun. Will Greer is going to be relevant in this hobby for the next 15 years.
That's true.
Because sports card radio is going to make him relevant.
Well, and Boba Shea will go to my Dodgers.
It's not content. That's drama. Like, I'll give Mojo his roses. He shut the fuck up.
So I'll answer what both of you are saying. So Umo or whatever MTG line, he's still doing videos. I just haven't caught up with him. Like, the algorithm isn't promoting his videos, and I forget to watch his videos.
I'm curious to what happened with the lawsuit. Did it get dropped from him? Because he was part of that, right?
He was mentioned. There was no lawsuit at all.
It
was just a legal threat.
It was like one of those.
We're gonna threaten to sue you.
It's a hush letter. It's a strategical hush letter.
Yeah. And
I paid somebody at an attorney's office to write this up, so you should feel threatened. And like, sports card radio isn't gonna.
They're not gonna take the bait. And how much did Jeff Wilson pay those lawyers? I mean, that's not. You have to watch all those videos, and then you have to write a legal letter,
Dude,
and then they like.
that shit ain't cheap. Lawyers ain't cheap. I'll tell you that. But
Jeff Wilson has a bailout. His wife.
Oh,
oh man,
I mean, she's got money, right?
man, she's got a lot, bro.
Am I wrong? She's got money.
yeah, she made a lot of money from that. I just wonder how much Jeff Wilson put into her company, investing wise. But
Real quick, shout out my man Brett. He's watching. He was in Fishers with me. He sent me a message. He's like, "Oh, come on, man, you need to oust those guys."
I love these guys, man. Bob Boozle,
The guys I wouldn't mention on
SCCC,
camera.
and Patches.
My man
Those
Wayne
three, man.
Gretzky knows. Hey,
And
my man
Immortal.
Brett fleeced him with some F1. It was legendary. Me and a couple buddies were watching him. My man Brett came up to me. He's like, "You know these content guys?" He's like, "Watch me fleece them with this F1." And we just stood there watching him. We're just laughing because Brett was just like, "I'm gonna fleece these guys," and walked right up to him and cashed out on these content guys. It was great. It was one of the better part of the weekends. So shout out Brett. So I'm gonna see him this weekend in Washington, PA. We got a show going on in Washington, PA. A bunch of buddies of mine are putting it on. It's supposed to be a pretty big show for our area. We don't have a lot of big shows exactly where I'm at. I usually have to go to like Cleveland, Canton, Indiana, but this one's right outside Pittsburgh.
Nice. All right, so yeah, going back to the sports card radio thing. So I noticed they started doing videos on Jeff Wilson. Once I think Jeff Wilson was going public threatening lawsuits on people. And that's when I realized that all of this was going on. That's when the videos started coming out. And obviously the market tanked. So, Jeff Wilson making all these calls at the top saying, "Hey, I'm very positive about the market." As a reaction, people are just coming after him. So I think.
Well, yeah, it's comparable to a used car salesman, right? So you're giving out financial advice and you have your top 5 cards. And I told you my biggest issue with him is what the fuck is an S&P card 500? It's like the stupidest. Steve, you know about Wilson's S&P 500 for sport cards?
What'd you just say?
He has an S&P 500 sports card investor, Jeff Wilson. They have an S&P 500,
like an index, like for the, in the stock market, they have the S&P 500.
I'm familiar with the S&P 500, but what's a card at S&P 500?
That's Jeff Wilson. He has one.
What?
I'm not fucking with you, bro. He has one. That's why I'm making a mockery of it. He has an S&P 500.
I'm the low IQ Steve you guys talk to every day, and explain to me what exactly that is.
So I guess in his eyes, because if you use market movers, the S&P 500 is the top 500 cards, right? So you would think your Mickey Mantles, your Jordan and stuff, but it's subjective because you have the ones that will always move around, or as they call liquid, right? But then cards are so volatile. How do you see which the 400 other cards that would qualify into that? Bro, it's the stupidest fucking thing.
That's dumb. That's a cute little thing to say where you can get more people to subscribe to something or to pay into something.
And stupid. Now he starts doing it.
It's a cute investment strategy that somebody can apply to the hobby and pretend they know what they're talking about. But it's like, dude, an S&P fund, stock or top 500 company can't tear their ACL. So it's just a terrible. You can't translate the two.
I can't buy fractional shares of the card.
I get what he's trying to do, but stop it.
So what happens to one of these cards in the index if you do what Deshaun Watson does and gets a massage? Like, what would happen to the?
Or look at John Morant.
I guess you could argue and say, whenever there's a company that falls out of the real S&P 500, you pretty much pick up on whatever it's substitute with. So I guess you could, but like you said, once somebody something happens and they fall out of that 500 cards, what's the standard and what gets you into the top 500? I don't know.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's so subjective.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, these guys will come up with anything. They'll say
that. But you see, that shows you the dummies that will buy from him. That's what he goes off of. Ignorance is bliss, right? If you can get people to buy into it, who's the dummy?
Now, who's come up with this? Who's using this?
This is Jeff Wilson's market movers.
Oh, don't worry, bro. Nobody's buying shit from him. He's stupid.
His market movers with his top 5, and now
Nobody's
he has a code
buying
card.
shit off him. We're safe. We're good. Nobody needs to worry about that.
But didn't you see his shirt? His shirt says "Sport cards are my 401k," or what he says, "What 401k? Sport cards are my investment." I'm serious. I sent you guys the screenshot.
Yeah, I remember that.
Thank you.
I think BK Sports Card sent me that too.
Come on, bro. Don't mess with Jeff Wilson like that, bro. That's a 401k, bro. That's a Tesla. Come on, Steve.
Tesla! What's a Tesla?
His butt buddy curator has a Star Wars index. I mean,
that reminds me. I'm
go.
working on a sponsorship with Fanatics to do my Kevin Durant index. No bias.
You're the only Kevin Durant fan I know.
Nothing to see here.
No conflict of interest?
None.
None?
Jeff Wilson's in.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You mean those trolls? So were we trolls now for calling you out?
Listen,
it's not the real one.
I'm going to gatekeep. I'm going to gatekeep this, and I'm going to tenderize the Kevin Durant cards.
This is what curator does when he's reading.
That's the plan.
This is curator right here. So what's funny about curator and Murley is if you watch their streams, right? Remember that clip I shared to you? If you guys look at my IG when he said it's a curator effect. I loved that. I literally lost my shit when he states that I don't want to be selfish, but I'm pumping Star Wars and I want to take accountability, not accountability, but yeah, it was my, how he just has to toot himself in the back, right? Pat himself in the back. So he's denied that he doesn't pump Star Wars, but he has a Star Wars index on market movers. And then he does this deal with DApps and Prison Gods. So it's like, and you're a lawyer, you're a pretty shitty lawyer. Like, do you understand that people like me who have no life save your clips and you're recorded, dude? Everything's on the internet. Like, I don't know how dumb he can be, bro. He's a pretty shitty lawyer.
I don't know who you're talking about. I'm worried about tenderizing and gatekeeping the Kevin Durant cards. That's what we do. And that's how we're going to grow this.
Steve, you're positive. So what can I do?
You're way too positive.
I'm always positive all the time. The camera's on me, so positive.
That's true.
Be positive. I'm going to say positive things.
So you guys, Steve, you're going to the National, right?
What's that?
You're going to the National, right?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for 3 days.
Well, are you going?
I'm going to be there Wednesday through Friday.
I think I'm going to be there in the afternoons. I told Steve earlier that, we're short-staffed at work. I don't know if I'm going to have to work in the mornings. But Saturday, I should be there. I just got to buy my ticket.
What's your job? Sell sports cards, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Sell sports cards, bro.
Bro, you're an accountant. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, exactly. These are my 401ks, man.
Yeah, bro.
But I wanted to be devil's advocate here. So you're going after market movers for having an index. So there are few people, I think, that have indexes or companies. I think Card Ladder has some sort of market capitalization, which I don't think is possible with sports cards because they're not liquid and it's volatile. And then on top, Ziggy always blasts Card Ladder. But there's also PWCC. They have an index tracking all the 500 cards, 1,000 cards, 2,000 cards. So it's not only Jeff Wilson, it's PWCC as well. And Card Ladder has a market capitalization. So they're trying to turn it completely into the stock market where you really can't do that.
Well, let me interject there.
Yeah.
How do you do a stock of a card? It's just like star stocks. You can't do fractional shares of a card. That's like me taking Steve's beloved KD rookie card and then ripping it. Hey, and we rip it up 3 ways amongst each other. Okay, here you go. We each own 30% of this card. Get the fuck out of here. Or 32.5. It doesn't make any sense to me, dude.
I'm offended.
You're offended
that
I'm
glad you're offended.
Gibbs is going under or
I'm glad you're offended.
Are you offended that?
I agree. I don't understand how and why anybody's still referencing sports cards as any type of like investment.
Yeah.
With, I mean, like you got like get off the dead horse. It's dead. The boom is done. Like it's done. And the farther we get past it, it's like I don't know what some of these Pied Pipers keeps. It's just shut. It's like just stop, man. Like just enjoy the hobby and have fun with it. Like you don't have to grow it. It's not your responsibility. Everybody's
Right.
talking about let's grow the hobby. Let's do this. It's like you want money. You're like
Exactly.
people
When you say
can mask
grow,
it however they want in whatever hobby's
yes.
positive they want, but they want to grow. Don't you
Yep.
get it twisted.
Don't
They
bullshit.
want to grow the
bullshitter.
hobby because they have either money vested, some type of sponsorship, and I'm not against all sponsorship. I'm not hating on anybody, but it's like, why is it on anybody with a camera to grow the hobby? Why does everybody say that? It's like, the hobby was always good and always fine. And I don't know. I'm like Ziggy, like why I don't want to grow the hobby that much. Like that's not on my agenda list. Right now, I'm focusing on the KD index. We're gonna curate this, tenderize it. That's what I'm worried about, guys. I
want to tenderize you on a deal, Steve.
I can't grow anymore.
I want to tenderize you on a KD rookie.
I know you wanted to tenderize that selfie I sent earlier, showing off my cards.
When are you going to start doing that on your Instagram? When you're going to be doing what the chicks do, right? Because
Steve, come on,
yeah,
bro.
I think,
fans, man.
I mean, you got to do this. I mean,
my cards.
Yeah, you should do that because if girls can show off their cards in provocative ways, then guys should be able to too, right?
We live in hide your wives, because if I start doing it,
you should do it.
The divorce rate's going up even higher, boys. Subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Do you see that Alex Stein? That I know who you know. You know who he is, Steve. Yeah. I don't know if you know who he is, LT. He's a comedian.
You know what? Have you watched his show at all?
No.
Is that the guy that's like a little heavier set and he like yells a lot? Is that the guy? Or am I thinking of someone else?
He was showing up at all those
kind of committee. One of the guys.
He was showing up all those like committee meetings and stuff during COVID and all that. He would just troll. Just troll.
I'll send you.
Is he still around?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. He's got his
own
I
gotta watch this guy. Yeah, please.
Contract with the Blaze. He's got his own show now. The show's okay. He's funny, but the show's But like when he goes around and does his when he does at show vlogs or at Congress vlogs, they're hilarious, bro. Hilarious. He's the big booty Latina guy.
Yeah, that guy. Now you're gonna get in trouble, Steve.
I didn't do it. I'm just referencing who did do it. I didn't do anything. I've nothing. I like big booty Latinas too. Represent.
Wait. You like women and you don't like going around with dudes and exchanging cardboard and just spending 72 hours together? You like women. Wow, you're the first guy that likes cards and women.
Hobby.
Wow.
What?
I didn't know that, bro. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I like chicks. I like chicks. But you don't have to worry. I like chicks.
I was making a joke to the influencers. When
I was going to say,
they sit there for
what are you talking about?
In the shows? Wait, what do the influencers do when they go to the show? Oh my God, my buddy picked me up from the airport. Let's go get a steak. And then they'll sit there like, trade nights at 2 a.m. Let me go spend some time with them. And then their hotel. And it's like, that's really cool. Like your film content, you spend that much time with men.
If I mean, Lord knows, it's probably never going to happen. I'm going to take the Kevin Samuels route, probably buy a dog and die alone. But I don't know if I had a woman, I don't know if I'd want her to be in the hobby. I would kind of want her to have her hobbies and interests, and I would have mine. You know what I mean? And I'm not against it. Like if if some chick who is into cards and I end up I wouldn't be against it. It's just it'd probably be healthier to not.
Yeah, like some of these influencers, we don't have to mention their names, but we've discussed this one influencer, and she's always doing videos. And then if I were her husband, I'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?" I mean,
I don't know, dude.
Maybe she's one of those women that don't need a man.
You can't say it, but it's like that's. That's what this comes down to. It comes to attention. And
Yeah.
like if you are a woman in this hobby, like you're going to get instant attention. And I mean,
Doesn't matter how viewers, but like even if
say that again, Raul. You're freezing up a little bit, bro.
can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're a little froze though.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, these women, it doesn't matter how they look. Even
they
if
could be
they're
average
like
looking.
they average looking and maybe not even good looking at all, they're gonna get viewers.
Yep.
So that's just the reality of it.
Dude, it's real similar to like chicks that do that like Comic-Con stuff. Like they dress up and go to Comic-Con, and most odds are a lot of them have like an OnlyFans or like the furry people. I know it's two different things, but it's like you're finding a niche market that you can kind of capitalize your situation in.
Oh yeah, and then I think we were talking about this one Pokemon influencer, assuming that it's not like a fake picture of her or someone's trying to impersonate her, and we saw something like really explicit, and I'm like, holy crap! I'm not gonna mention this person's name, but you know, I talked to Pancake Analytics. He knows this person, and he's met her husband too. So that's the other thing, like. If a husband were to find out that the chick's doing it, unless he gave her the permission to do it, I don't know.
Well, she doesn't need permission, bruh. Feminism.
So I think I know which female you're talking about, and I won't say the name either.
Yeah, I'm not gonna out her.
I would be kind of concerned if I was a husband and my wife is sitting there spending that much time with dudes that are gawking at her in cards. I don't know how long that's going to last, man. That's, call it insecure or whatever, dude, but it's like,
yeah, that's a divorce waiting to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
And then some of these videos, it's like all these guys hit the like button and they're horrid.
Yeah,
I think we talked about one of the videos yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mention it.
Bobby brought up.
It must have been, or his hobby or LT.
Where it was like, what did we learn from this?
What, yeah, exactly.
Everybody like, knew this.
Knows this.
It's not helping anybody. You're just doing it to put yourself on camera. But I think a lot of people that are sponsored, maybe they're just incentivized to like just say some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Just get more videos out there. Yeah.
Don't they get paid for this on Instagram?
I don't know. Hobby was talking about how you want. Listen, I'm too stupid and disinterested. I wouldn't know how, but I think there is a way.
Yeah, because he said that if you get more than 10,000 subs on IG, then you could just post all these reels. You could like grind on someone, and then you get a ridiculous amount of views. I mean that's what the hobby's going to come down to. Just watch. Yep. You get something cringe.
Bro, it's got
and then people are gonna just share it like crazy.
It used to be like this, like you never talked and bragged about being in the hobby. You were just involved, and you just kind of did it as like a side thing, and it didn't covet all this attention and crazy marketing and weird shit that's been going on since the COVID situation. And now it's like, I don't know. It's just like almost anything else. It's fugazi. And the Cardman's right. They love these simps.
They'll talk about absolutely nothing. Yeah. What do you guys think of Jeff Wilson's podcast? I know I'm hammering Jeff and Curator because they just irritate the fuck out of me. But what do you think of Wilson's podcast that he started since? Remember that video he posted? I'm gonna take those critics and haters. LT, fuck you. I'm gonna take all you guys. I'm gonna show you. And I told him that he sits when he pees, but he didn't respond back to me. But I said it.
I thought he
probably does.
I don't know, man. Part of me, I don't know how, like, how do I want to say it? I don't know if Jeff's like, he has to be aware, like, how, like, is he that out of touch when he?
No, he has ears. He has
That's
bunny
what I mean.
ears.
Like he has to like know.
He's
It's
got
like
bunny
yeah,
ears, Steve.
maybe not a lot of this comes off the way I intend it to.
He was telling us to take the jab, I think, in early 2021. So
He
like
said
he
that he was
believes
a
this
nerd,
stuff.
I think, in school, and we're just bullies, I think. And he found a hobby to where he's loved.
I mean, I think that's what the hobby's
all.
all about. Because, I mean, yeah, this is a nerdy hobby for the most part. Maybe except ULT and a few others.
Oh no,
But
I'm a nerd too, bro. Come on.
okay,
I collect Mandalorian cards. I mean, come on. I don't pump them. I actually collect them.
But this is what now. I think you've talked about this before, where all the people that didn't get the attention when they're growing up, now they have the attention, now they have the clout, and now they're like, hey, cameras on me, I'm the jock now, and
that's so true.
And then they want the attention, they want to be liked, and me, I'm like, I want to just speak my mind, I don't.
But you're negative.
Yeah, I'm negative.
You're against the grain.
Yeah.
You and me both, and Steve, and the rest of us.
Yeah. And Hobby and all of them. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Look at Curator on a weekly basis. How many stupid videos does he make that make no fucking sense? But he's sitting there dancing or doing a wrestling reference or something, and he's like, he's got likes because that's the whole point of it. He can do that.
Likes from people in India. Is that where the likes are coming from?
I just don't.
I think polar bears in Antarctica.
Most of them are bots, though. So it's like, what are you getting out of this? Like, I don't know. People I talk with throughout the hobby at shows and this and that, like Jeff Wilson's like, again, I don't think he's a bad guy. I just,
Steve's
a lot of people take his content. They just, it's kind of like barbershop joke talk. Like, you just don't take it that seriously. It's just.
So he's like a really uncool dad. Is that what you're saying with dad jokes?
Patrick O'Hallahan, and he says beta males are looking to be alpha male now.
Yes, Patrick.
They're still beta with the camera.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting comment.
Well, here's the thing that I never, and Rowo knows about this. Jeff's little posse, Teapots, who looks like Caillou, a kid show. It looks like a cancer kid with a bald head. Teapots is block Raul, so that's all you need to know there. And then that other guy, 40 Breaks, he always wears the Kentucky shirts with that southern accent. He annoys the fuck out of me. And I've talked so much shit on YouTube to Jeff Wilson. I got blocked finally, which was an honor. But I don't see much on him. But, the whole thing with those two, they keep beating, they're part of his little posse. What do you think with those guys? Do you think eventually they'll stay with him long term, or do you think eventually they'll branch out?
Steve, what do you think?
I don't think Steve watches the show, though.
I really don't. But if they're being paid by Jeff Wilson, why would you cut off the money train?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're
getting paid, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know those guys. I really don't pay attention. I think I know you're talking about, because in the past when I would watch Wilson stuff, like, dude, there's so many mainstream guys. I don't follow them on Instagram. I'm not going to watch your stuff on YouTube. A lot of the stuff I gather is from stuff you guys share with me. I started unfollowing and talking shit amongst my peers about, I don't know, maybe a year ago. Brett was listening. I mean, I was making fun of a lot. I mean, a lot of us were. A lot of people watch this and were like, what the fuck are these guys doing and talking about? Like, and we would just laugh about it. That's what I mean. It's like barbershop bullshit material. Oh, damn. UCLA pulled it out, LT. They beat Northwestern.
Did they? Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
wait, thanks for the update, man.
6. That was close, but they pulled it out. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're good.
Watching the game and shit.
No,
but yeah,
hey, you're good.
Curate KD cards. KD cards. We're gonna tenderize. We're gonna tenderize.
Exactly.
Listen, don't worry. Once Fanatics signs me to my KD index, like, I'm not talking to you guys anymore. I'm going to start going to shows with camera and vlogging everything. Like, it's a new day for Steve.
I know the day when you wear a Fanatic shirt. I don't know. You sold out.
Well, right now I'm bare-chested, but soon you'll see curating KD. That's what my index going to be.
Did you guys see? Speaking of our boy curator, a guy who couldn't have more of an ego. Did you see that thing on picture I sent to you where he had the slab mag of his PMG card and he was flashing it
Of himself?
Yeah. So now he goes from wearing a shirt of himself to now he has a card, the PMG, where he's blinging it out. It's like, bro, I don't know how kids look up to that shit, man. I'm sitting there like, could you imagine each of us have a slab mag of our PMGs?
Sadly, though, there's going to be a lot of young guys who will look at that and think, I want a card with my picture on it. How much do I have to pay? Unfortunately, that's going to happen, dude. It's just a natural ripple effect. Like, I agree. We are grown men. A lot of us are going to look at that and be like, the fuck is that? But you're going to have a lot of young people who are going to be like, oh, I want a card with my picture, and then I can sign it.
So the thing with curator, I have to admit, early on, I liked his videos, and he said like, hey, we have to watch out for people in the hobby, this and that. But then it was all about himself, and then I'm like, okay, I caught on to it, and then soon after, everyone caught on to him, and then the people that Fanatics is going to prop up, they're going to prop up people to try to get into the hobby. So when people first see curator, they're going to be like, oh, this is interesting,
right?
Just like I think you may have liked him in the beginning too. But then,
you know what? I remember those videos. He would sit at his desk and talk about when you're negotiating. I agree. When he first started off, it was like reasonable. It wasn't corny. It wasn't like
it was good,
flashy used car salesman type shit. It seemed pretty genuine. I mean, got to give dude roses for when it's earned. I mean, I thought originally, because I do remember watching it, because I had a close buddy of mine who was like, I enjoy his content. He, it's nothing crazy. Then,
and I think that as you get bigger,
I don't know, Marvel cards or whatever it was that got things changing the direction.
Because he was pumping what? Marvel, Star Wars,
PMGs,
Disney, Pixar. But that's where it gets to when you start off humble, then you start off at the bottom, and then you work your way up. Just like we say, right? We promote capitalism, right? But when you have these guys supporting you, sponsorships and whatnot, right? You're pretty much getting to that untouchable status, and you lose that
freedom of speech, basically.
Yeah, but then also you lose where you started from. You started from a genuine place, and then essentially you're selling yourself out because you get up there and hey, you're making your money and whatnot, right? But then it's guys like us who are not invested like that. We make fun of you. So I don't know. Call me a bully.
Hater.
You're so negative, man. You should be kicked out of the hobby.
I should. You should kick me out of this chat.
Yeah. I should kick you out of this chat.
Put me on a timeout at least.
Timeout. Yeah, I'm gonna have to censor you for getting my video demonetized. No, but yeah, let's take a look at this comment by Bob Boozle. Great curator thinks he's Emperor Palpatine, but he's more like Count Chocula.
I don't know. At this point, I think the fact that we even talk we're kind of playing into this shit because I think he wants to be like a heel.
Oh, she collects cards. It's not a real account. It's not.
Yeah, I know.
Like a lot of these guys are treating the hobby like LARPing. Like he's almost like, yeah, I'll be this guy now.
Well, it makes sense. He loves wrestling. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love wrestling. I mean, I grew up in the Attitude Era, but that's basically what it's turned into. It's like a real life WWE. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you find it weird that some of these people, they go to these shows and they just room with other dudes? Or is that...
I think it's pretty sad.
Yeah, I've heard I think P. Ryan Collection was talking about that earlier. It's just like you're going with your buddy and you're rooming together and they're married and stuff. I'm like, I would want a separate room. That's just me. Unless I'm going with my wife or something.
I would go with my buddies, but yeah, I'd want.
I would get a separate room, but I've heard that some of these dudes, they get the same room and stuff. But
why are you hating?
I don't know. I don't know enough about. I don't know guys are doing that. I wasn't aware of all that.
Yeah. So that's good. Charles gets his own room at the shows, probably to get the chicks.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Something I guess in a positive aspect with cards. What do you guys think with the 2022 with NFL Prism? Like we have this discussion. Yeah. Pooh, right?
Pooh.
But you're still gonna print the shit out of it. People are gonna buy it. But I was sitting there.
Dude.
I think Dustin did a video on it on the prices with like you have to buy hobby box now really to get the value. Like retail, unless you're actual collector, right? But retail doesn't do shit for you.
I don't know, man. It's not even like a cool card anymore. Like, I don't know. I'm just never a big Prism fan. I'm trying to think, like, I have Jokic's Prism rookie, his light blue Prism, because he just doesn't have a wide variety of rookie cards like a lot of guys. And honestly, his stuff's not really overprinted. 2015 is like one of them years where it's like they didn't really have they weren't printing off like they were since 2018 on. But I just never really liked the look of the Prism card all that much. Like, I get it's trendy and it's like it sets a market for a lot of the hobby, but it's gotten so I don't enjoy the cards that much. Honestly, there's just so many parallels. It's just and they've watered, like, the base card means nothing now. And like, I'm not saying base cards should be, they should all be expensive. It's just when you have so much of it, it's like these chromium cards are going to be worth nothing because there's just a gazillion of them. And it's like, then which parallel do you have to go after? If there's anything, like, I actually enjoy the select parallels more than the Prism ones. I have a few KD select parallel cards because, I mean, they're nothing high end. They're just cards I enjoy. I think they look nice. But yeah, I'm not even that big of a fan of the majority of the Prism parallels. I'm not a big fan of the look of that card.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm just like you in that sense. Like, I mean, you guys buy a lot of singles, right? Like I buy a lot of guys I PC in my cards for singles wise. But then I'm like, if I'm going to buy some overprinted product, I'm going to buy a hobby box because at least there is going to be some value. Because I mean, I also invest.
To be honest with you, I see what you're saying. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, there's the potential of more value in a hobby box.
Right.
The thing is, dude, like, you're not getting the value of what you're opening out of a hobby box anymore.
Right.
Hobby boxes used to be like a good hobby box in like the early 2000s and stuff. Like it would have been like $150, maybe close to $200 box. But the thing is, like, you could open that and it's like, okay, I can make my 150 back, my 200 back. I can sell off some of the hits I got or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, with this new Prism hobby stuff, like, you're not good. What is it, like 1,000 a box? I don't even know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, take a look because I don't want to be out of pocket. But like, whatever hobby boxes for Prism are, like, your chances of making your money back are like they're not even close to how it used to be.
Yeah,
I mean, your base rookie cards are like, even if it's that guy, $25, $30, like, what are you going to hit 50 of those base cards and I mean, it's just, there's not.
Just buy into a break, bro.
No, I'm not.
Come on, bro.
Yeah,
it's a Tesla.
Okay, the Tesla.
It's about $600, $700 right now.
Okay, I'm off a little bit, but even still,
I mean, it's still pricey.
To make your $700 back off a box opening that stuff. It's just, I mean, yeah, you have the chance of maybe hitting a gold, but it's like, what if you hit a gold of like, I don't know, a defensive lineman? You know what I mean? Like, you can say, I hit a gold, but it's like, unless you hit a somebody really worthwhile, you're not going to get that return that you think you're going to get.
Take a case in point of Brock Purdy. Raul and I had this discussion, and Steve, before I think we really started conversating, I was talking to Raul. Is Brock Purdy cards were insane what they were going for. This was back in December, and then when his arm got taken out, right, that was it. And his cards now he's in the Niners unit. Well, he's been in the Niners uniform, but he's in autos and Prism and Optic and whatnot, right? But he's not going to be back till, I want to say, later mid-season, right? And who knows if he'll be the starter.
And signed somebody too. They brought a quarterback. I can't remember who it was.
Sam Darnold.
Odds are he's probably being brought in to be a backup.
Right, backup to Trey Lance.
What's the deal with Trey Lance? What are they going to do in Purdy?
Kaepernick's coming back, bro.
What's that?
Kaepernick's coming back, bro. I'm sorry. Did I trigger you? I'm sorry.
Did you get triggered?
Listen, if he could play, somebody would give him a job.
He's too oppressed. I'm sorry. Did I say that?
Uh-oh.
Steve, I'm jabbing at you, bro.
I know. Listen, I'm not against. I
Steve.
wish everybody well, but I don't know. I think that the narrative on that's a little
So you want to get into some
confusing
tinfoil
to
hat
me.
stuff? I think I may
Go,
lose some
go,
subscribers
go.
here. So in what 2011 or 2014, right? So he was accused of rape, right?
Who?
Do you remember
Kaepernick?
Kaepernick?
I,
Do you
What?
remember that?
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think he was accused of rape.
Let me Google that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
I think he was accused of it, and then all of a sudden, I think that story went away, or like
Karl Malone? Like Karl Malone? I'm just spitting facts, bro.
But
I don't know
I
about
heard
Kaepernick
rumblings about
application.
this, and then all of a sudden that went away, and then all that kneeling and that stuff went on, and then that divided people. So I'm just thinking out loud.
Oh, you're right. Here, I'll read it right now. This is off
Yeah,
Bleacher Report. Colin Kaepernick will not be charged for incident at Miami hotel, April 10th, 2014. Huh.
Man, this
Yeah.
is the first I'm hearing of this, to be honest.
Wow,
with you.
2014. Jeez, Raul, you are the boogeyman.
So I'm just thinking, wait, was this guy, did the elite come to him saying like, hey, look, you did this, and then we're gonna make this go away, but you got to do this to divide people.
Jeez.
That's some
Wow.
I don't know.
tinfoil hat
Like I live in
stuff, but I
tinfoil hat
mean,
world, so this is
Listen, if people don't understand the term honeypot, like that shit's real.
oh, it is
So
definitely
this
real.
situation, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't
Because
know.
the thing
Again,
is,
I
like,
know it's a touchy one because people
No pun intended.
feelings on the whole situation. What I kind of observed from it was he was really good. He was really good when Harbaugh was coaching at.
He was good.
yeah,
I
he
won't
was
deny
really
that.
good.
When
I
Harbaugh
agree with
left,
that.
you got to see the system started changing, and I don't think he's the adaptable type of quarterback where he's not a pocket quarterback. He's not going to hit throws from the. That's just not his game.
He's mobile.
Nothing. I'm not bringing up anything political. Just as far as his game goes, you could see once Harbaugh left, he was not even close to that. What he signed for like 90 mil or whatever at the time.
He went
Maybe
vegan too.
more.
Don't forget that.
Yeah. I remember that he
But
went
like, if you
vegan.
remember, they were
Lost
worried.
weight.
They were talking about it, and Blaine Gabbert took his job. Like he was
Blaine Gabbert,
performing.
right.
Like people don't realize, like he lost his job because of performance.
Yeah.
And then after that is when I noticed, he began kneeling, and I'm not yang or naying any of that. I'm not getting into that, but like I noticed that message started branding him status after he lost his starting job already, and then everybody.
You want to know the deal?
Why can't he get a job? Why can't he back up somewhere? But the thing was, he was asking for so much money, nobody was going to sign him for that to be a backup.
Oh, they paid him.
Yeah, he got paid really well.
6 years, 114 million. With
how much was guaranteed?
61.
61 is guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, I don't know, a lot of people didn't, I was getting to conversations with people about this, and a lot of people, they didn't realize that, hey, Kaepernick's, one of his last games was in Miami, right? And they have a large Cuban population. And I think he wore, was it like a Castro shirt?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so that pissed off some of the players on Miami, and he got wrecked that game. And then after that, I remember a lot of teams did not want to deal with him. And there was actually Baltimore. Baltimore was going to deal with him, but then I think his partner is Nessa. Is that his partner's name? So Nessa was alluding that the owner of the Ravens was like a slave owner or something like that. And I think that rubbed them the wrong way. And Ray Lewis was trying to vouch for Kaepernick to come there. So I don't know.
Interesting.
And then the thing is, I think Kaepernick could have gotten a job if his partner didn't make those comments.
Wait. He was going to get offered. There was a team that would sign him, and he went diva status because they came and watched him, and he said, I forgot what his reasoning was.
That was a tryout.
No, he got an offer.
The league did a tryout.
Who gave him an offer?
I'm going to look it up right now. No, I remember he got an offer. He turned it down.
he was about to get an offer from Baltimore, but then the owner didn't
Baltimore?
like the fact his partner said something about alluding to him being like a slave owner, from my memory.
So it looks like he turned down the contract with the Broncos.
He did turn down a contract?
According to that. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, right? I mean,
Okay.
this was back in 2018. The Broncos this is Business Insider. Broncos offered Kaepernick a contract in 2016, but included a pay cut at least $4.9 million, and he turned it down.
That's what I mean. I remember him sharply.
I remember he turned down a
Not going
contract.
to pay him to be a backup for the money he wanted because of his previous success. But the thing was, I hate to say it, like, yeah, he did play well with Harbaugh, but Harbaugh built that system around him, and it was successful. And like once Harbaugh left, you could see right away the level of play went, it went downhill quick. Think about it. Blaine Gabbert took his job.
I think, to be honest, he's compromised, but I could be wrong because, like, why would you turn down that $4 million deal if you wanted to play in the NFL?
I know.
Well, I think he was in talks with Nike.
I thought, didn't they pay him off a portion when he became an actor?
Nike paid him a good amount,
something or whatever, and I don't even know.
He does ads for Nike, though, right?
What's that?
The
NFL.
Nike. I think he. Who knows? Again, this is maybe like speculative tinfoil hat, but like if he was in talks with Nike about whatever, like, do you need that $4 million from Denver? Like, you'd probably be better off just doing what you're doing and working with Nike and branding yourself and whatever, whichever lane he's chosen to take. But I don't know the timing of all that stuff.
So the thing is, he used to be buddies with Enes Kanter, and then when Enes Kanter went after Nike, Kaepernick
that ended quick.
Cut ties off. So I just found that very interesting.
Enes.
No, but the thing is that Enes Kanter, I don't agree with what that guy says, but he does, he's consistent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, he talks about oppression of people of all different backgrounds. It's not only like, hey, look, only group X and group Y.
It's not just
what's trending. It's not like crowd chasing. Yeah. He just says, what he thinks, and I respect him for that. But he got kicked out of the NBA for that.
Yep. That's true.
And
if you're not down with their agenda.
People forget, dude, like Tebow was pretty much blackballed, and he couldn't get signed because nobody wanted to bring that media spectacle of Tim Tebow to have him as a backup, if you guys remember. Like,
yeah.
No, he went as a tight end.
Listen, Tebow had a cult-like following too. Now, it might have been a different political demographic of individual, people, but he was kind of blackballed too. People were like, I remember when he was at Florida, they told him to get that John 3:16 off his what's that? The stuff you wear under your eyes, that eye black.
Oh, the eye black.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
Putting John, it goes both ways, I guess.
Oh, don't get silent, Steve. Say what you're going to say.
What? That was it.
I don't know.
Oh, you gatekeep. Back to gatekeep.
Yeah. Tenderizing, right? Tenderizing.
I'm working on this index, guys. You guys will see me big time one day. You'll be like, I remember when we were friends with Steve. He's big time.
I remember that. He'll be laughing at us with his Fanatics.
My Fanatics, curate the KD shirt.
He'll be throwing Splenda stickers at us and say, "Oh, look at these two
guys." I'll give you stickers.
Will you still associate with us or
no? Hell no.
What a stupid question.
I'm sorry. Big time. I'll be big time.
Do you think that? Do you think that people from the industry are going to try to not infiltrate us, but like try to bring us to the dark side?
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't be. I can't be.
I don't know about the infiltrate us. Yes, I have my thoughts.
Yeah, I think like maybe they're trying to get someone to dig dirt on us or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, like
we got careers. We don't do this for a living.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like I'm not going to show, doing deals with people. This is why I don't do like these big deals with people at shows, because they can't come back to me saying, "Oh, I scammed this person, this and that," right? They can make some stuff up. You can't do that. I buy cheap cards, people call me out. but I look where people aren't looking. That's my strategy.
Well, I'm no saint, so everybody has made mistakes and stuff. But I'll be honest, as far as the card hobby goes, like I don't care what people look up.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm whenever I set up, it's usually like my dad, my old man who's got me in the hobby. He's always set up and done this on the side. It's been fun. It's been bonding for all of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I make sure if somebody's at my table and we're getting a deal done, I always make sure premise, like, are you comfortable with this? Like, did you check what you needed to look like? Some people get offended when they bring up their phones and they start comping. If I'm a little high on something, I'll just tell you. It's like, I have this. I'm probably, say it's a $1,500 card. Maybe I have it at $1,800, and I'll be like, look up what you got to look up.
Yep.
If you feel comfortable, that's one thing that I kind of, and I'm not saying others don't. I think you have a lot of people that will, but I'm not offended if you bring your phone up and comp. I have nothing to hide. If I'm high on a card, I'll tell you, I paid this. This is why this price tag's on it.
I think.
I mean, I'm not, and I agree with you, LT. Like, I don't want somebody to come
I'll
back.
be back.
Same with you, Raul. I don't want somebody to come back to me and come back and say, I had a bad interaction with Steve. I felt like the deal was dirty, or I felt like it left a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I don't want to do that. I've lost on deals for cards I want because it's like, it's the card I want. I'll lose $100 on the deal in trade just to get the card I want. Like, I'd rather default. I can afford it. Now, I'm not saying this is like a bragging point, but like I can afford to lose out on it because I want the card I want.
Yeah. No, I think you make valid points. It's excellent because that was going to be that was conversation piece on the comp stuff, right? Because that's the whole thing is reality doesn't hit with some of, and that's the problem I have with the influencers and then teaching the kids negotiation, right? Because like I've seen people, like I actually have card buddies, they're like, what the hell's up with this 60%, 70% comp stuff, right? I mean, you take it how people are going to look at the comps, right? Pretty much everyone goes off eBay, right? And then you have to take in tax, shipping, right? But then that doesn't translate. Be honest,
when people comp, they never take tax. They'll use eBay comps, but they'll never take tax. And then they'll want like 75, 80% of that last comp. And that's where it's like, I'll be honest, it's like, it might have sold for $1,300, but it's probably closer to a $1,500 card. Like, can we meet somewhere in that range? And that's when I like the more conversation at a table, I feel is healthier because I want somebody to know my thought process and where I'm at. If you tell me where you're comfortable at, what your thought process is, then odds are we can negotiate a deal somehow, some way.
And that's where the camera issue comes in because it's like what's premeditated when it comes to the deal. All right, are we going to do this? And then it gets on camera. But then it's like if it's just you and me and we're at the show, it's like we can be civil and make the deal, right? And that's the whole thing that it creates this false narrative that this is how deals are done. And that's not how they're done. Steve, you've been to card shows. I know Raul. I've been there. And it's nothing like that. I've made great deals. I keep a good reputation. I try to stay fair with it. Just like you said, it's keeping that relationship because your local card shows, everybody knows each other and word gets around quickly. Hey, Raul, we were just talking about comping and then we're talking about card shows and comping and how it's just not organic in that sense.
No, we were talking shit on you when you left.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, but what do you think about that, Raul, with comps? People, because the whole thing was shield bidding, right? A couple of your subscribers are saying that, right? Everyone's going to go to eBay as the first reference, right? But then, like, where is that golden rule with comping? Where what's the reality and what's factual, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's real versus what's not. And then going to the shows, I have talked to other individuals and I've got them on the program and they think that they're just making things up. Like you said earlier in the show, that like, hey, they worked out a deal beforehand, but they're just like faking the sale or the value of it. Or then they buy it off someone and then they go on eBay and then they sell the item and then it's a private bids. I'm like, why do you have private bids on your sale? Yeah. So I mean, just like stuff like that. So it's probably shield. So yeah, I look at, the sales on eBay just to get a handle on where the price is at. But, I just use it as a reference, right? That doesn't mean that that's actually the price.
And that's the thing that annoys with the influencers, the not every single person, but they'll sit there and literally, oh, I'm gonna get this deal, and they'll literally do it right there at the show and go and flip it stuff, right? And then it's like, so how much truth is it if you're sitting there going to one guy and I'm going to Steve and like, hey Steve, I'm gonna buy your KD card for $200, and I go to Raul and I sell it to him for 300. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand that process. And I know it brings the attention on the video,
I mean, I get people want to make money, so like I understand like why people would buy at a certain percent. Like, and for them, how do I want to say it? Like, because there's always like booths at shows where it's like they're just going to openly tell you like we're buying at 70%. Bring us your stuff,
right.
And like I understand that. Like, and you're walking into a deal knowing. You know what I mean? What I have a tougher time is like when you go to a dealer and there's a card you want, and you're like, hey, can I work out a deal with you? Cash, trade? Can we work something out? If there's anything you're interested, I might have. And then the dealer will try to be like, well, I'm on this side of the table, so if I'm going to include trade, I want a 25% markup. And it's just like,
yeah,
that's when I get to the point where it's like, I feel like this isn't a good, and like, I'm a grown man. I can afford it. Like if there's somebody like a younger guy that's trying like, or a kid, it's like, man, I wouldn't advise them always to like work out deals that way completely.
Yeah.
The thing is, speaking of all these fake comps, I was doing videos on alt. I don't know how many of you picked that up, but someone on Instagram was saying that, hey, look, they're doing the hanky panky with comps on alt. Like one day they're going to say, oh, this card's worth what, $5,000 or whatever. But then they're not getting offers for the card. And then someone gave them a lower offer. Then they change it. And then they give 85% of that lower comp that they changed the other day. So I'm just thinking like, what's going on with alt? Have you heard anything about this?
I don't know much about them. I just know when I would set up and stuff and people would come at me with comps from alt, I would be like, I don't care what alt says. And, well, what do you mean they do this? And people would tell me to get off eBay and use these other things to comp. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, that's fine if that's how you want to do it. Like, I'm not selling you my card at that price. Like, I'll get on eBay and find 4 or 5 comps, and I'm comfortable doing that. And, like, that's my transparency. And if you're not, then I'm not going to sell it to you just because alt or card ladder. They're one of the two. I think it was alt. I remember being in a couple shows and some younger guy came up to my table. He's like, well, alt says this. And I was like, I don't care. I never took it seriously. I'd rather use a format that everybody's familiar with and you can find multiple, and again, I'm not saying eBay is like religion. Like you can't take it as that, but at least it gives you a frame of reference with multiple transfer, and you can see the bidders and all this. And I wasn't into the alt thing. I've had people show me it and I'm like, this is stupid. I'll just get on eBay and comp it.
Yeah. I mean,
now as far as business, how they do I'm not familiar. Ziggy probably knows a lot more about that.
Have you heard anything about alt LT?
I don't know too much on alt. I use them to look up comps. Sometimes if I don't want to use eBay, I know they can do raw cards. But based upon the influencers that I've watched, not just you, not influencer, content creators, whatever, I haven't heard too much on alt.
Yeah,
I don't know too much on that.
Yeah, like Hobby Shark was just like blasting them on posts.
SCR did too. Radio.
Yeah. SCR. That's quite interesting because I think Brian was talking about the payment processor. So then I did some more digging on that. And it seems that I think it's Circle or whatever, their merchant, they got rid of them. And I think they got rid of Dapper Labs, that has NFT or NBA Top Shot. So now, like withdrawing money, I think you have to get wired. And I think there's a fee associated with it. I think that's the issue rather than ACH because ACH costs $1. So it's basically free. So I think that's the problem right now.
So here's my question: Does alt take comps from eBay? or are they their own?
They have their own program allegedly.
And that's the thing I think that people are competing with eBay because eBay is still king when it comes to selling most cards, right? I mean, then you have Heritage, Golden at their larger end. That's the thing. It's like we were talking about with PWCC. They're no longer with eBay and they have their own little issues, right? But then is all turning into that PWCC.
So, like, speaking of PWCC, I found it quite interesting. Sports Card Radio was talking about they were sent information where they had a quote unquote person that was doctoring cards and that was able to send it to these grading houses and they're able to get it through. So I'm just wondering, okay, PWCC was pretty big on eBay. So how many of these cards that we have in our possession, assuming that Sports Card Radio's info is true, how many of these cards, even low end, are trimmed? Like taking like a PSA 7 to a 9 or taking a PSA 8 to a PSA 10. And no one knows that it's trimmed.
None of mine are. Who knows?
Yeah,
that's a tough one to call. Like, I mean, it just comes down to this idea where it's like now that you know it's happening, it opens that can of worms where your brain is like, dude, this could be endless.
Yeah.
And it's the type of stuff they don't want to talk about because it does affect things when you think it's like, well, if auction houses are knowingly participating in this, like, are my cards trimmed? You know, I always try to stick to buying graded cards. But there's always a chance, you know what I mean? There's always that potential.
Well, it goes like this, like I share with Raul. I showed Raul when we first started your streams together. I showed him my Decade of Excellence Michael Jordan card, which is worth $20, but it's worth $1 million to me. It has my favorite player and is the same thing that a Jordan rookie PSA 10. What is the difference? Why would I spend the price of a house on my childhood idol when I could use that to buy a house, invest in the stock market, buy guns and ammo, whatever, when it's that piece of cardboard that's the same value to me? And that's my argument, is when I have that piece of cardboard, I look at it a couple minutes and then I put it away. But really, what else can I do with it? Why would I spend X amount of dollars on a card? You know what I mean? I like to more organize my stuff. I like the slabs and I like to put my sets together and whatnot. But it's like, I just can't fathom that, spending that much money on a card. It's a status thing. You know, I just, what do you guys think?
I would agree. It's a status thing, and I participate in it. I do. I do. I mean, there's certain cards that I want that it's like, man, I know they come with a price tag, but like I'm a player, like I PC certain guys.
Yeah.
Card I want, I'll participate in that. So I can't be a hypocrite.
I respect that. Yeah. I think Raul,
I do have a rule of thumb. Like, I'm not going after cards that are over $3,000. Like, I have multiple cards that are over $1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I'm not putting all my, like a squirrel with his nuts. I'm not putting all my nut in one basket.
Yeah.
You're
diversifying. Yeah.
I'll dabble with, $1,300 slab, $1,500. I'll work out like the KD Flawless. Like, I happen to get it graded and it's probably worth more now. Like, but to be honest with you, I kind of have a rule of thumb where it's like, I'm not going after a card that's $3K or above because I don't trust the long-term.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll dabble in over 1,000 and under 2,000 around that area, but like, I'm not big. And like, I agree. Like, if you're just buying cards for 20K, like it is kind of a status thing.
Well, here's an example right here. And it's one of our guys, Steve, that we love. Roth Cards. Raul's seen this. I've shared this story too, and you might have seen this, Steve. He went down. I think he drove 4 hours because he lives in Florida. I think he drove to Miami. Maybe he's in Miami. He went and got a Trey Lance RPA, and it had the Nike swoosh. I think it was a BGS 9.5. I don't know if you recall that story, Raul. I shared with you. Remember I shared with you that he bought that card?
Yeah.
So that's a case in point. I don't know how much he paid. I mean, I would say under 100K. I mean, I don't know what Trey Lance is going for, right? But how long is he going to hold that bag till, let's say, Trey Lance turns to be a bust next year, right? I'm just saying for next season. But will he pump the shit out of it to get it, or will he accept? Will he break even? You know what I mean? It's like those kind of big cars where I see these influencers, or
That's where
you know what I mean? Like
it's sketchy when you're dealing with prospecting in the price.
exactly.
I would agree, and I think that's a little bit different. Like for me, I go after guys that they have established careers. You know what I mean? With certain metric points, like for my PC, that where I feel like there's more maintaining value there. Yeah, I agree. Guys who buy these quick flip, like that they're flipping the card, and at least to their credit, they're open about it, I guess. But I agree. This has become like, let me get it fresh, hot, like right off the printer, and let me pass the bag to the next person.
Two examples.
That's pretty much what it's become. It's like it's literally hot potato or Russian roulette. It's
right. Take 2 points this year, 2023. Mahomes, my guy, wins his second Super Bowl. LeBron James breaks the all-time scoring record. I didn't see significant change in those two cards.
No. And the reason is because of the boom inflation. They were so inflated. It's not about gains now. It's about maintaining.
Yep.
Let's be honest. Patrick Mahomes could win another Super Bowl, make another Super Bowl appearance, maybe even win a fourth Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is his, like, whatever his RPA sold for, like, whatever, 2 million, 3 million, whatever, is that going to now go up to 5 or 6? Probably not. It's probably just going to maintain that high price tag that was bought during the boom. You know what I mean? Look what our boy with the Luka RPA and PWCC. You know what I mean? Like
Luka. Well, there's stories where
buy it back at a less price and you still made money. It's like,
and who was the person that was involved in that trade?
Yeah. Where's Hobby when you need him?
So
you got some of that drug money.
So
change topics.
I have one more thing. Me and Raul had this discussion where I think Justin Herbert, and I will stick to it. I think he's overrated as shit. He's a talented quarterback. What did his card sell for? Because he's in that top 10 in the last year, right? What did his RPA sell for?
Who's that?
Justin Herbert. Now? Justin Herbert.
Oh, well, I don't know about the RPAs. Like the most recent
maybe it was a rookie cards
of his were the
$1.1 million. The quote unquote fake sale, in my opinion.
But that's what I'm saying. What has he done?
I agree, man, and that's where I'm saying, like, it's a dangerous game with this prospecting stuff. Like, I agree, Justin Herbert is extremely talented, but it's like, how in God's green earth can you fathom any one of his cards, even his very best cards, selling for in the $1 million range based off of what metric? There's more parallels of that card. There's more print count. He's got more rookie cards across the board. He's got less legacy to back up these. It just doesn't make sense. But I can agree, he's very talented, and there's a lot of hopes there. Yeah. But it's like a lot of these guys who came out during that 2020 to whatever boom, and he was literally the 2020 Prism rookie. I know him and Burrow were together.
And Tua.
These guys, it's only going to be a matter of maintaining prices at this point.
Yeah.
So the thing is that
there's Burrow's RPAs that sell for $50K, $60K, and it's like those get brushed under the rug because it's not over $1 million. But it's like, how the hell is that card going to maintain?
And he's been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know, man. It's a dicey game, and I've had conversations with even other influencers where I'm like, dude, this is like money laundering. It really is. Like, we don't know how many. I saw a comment in earlier, like, especially on some of these auction houses, some of the buyers are buying their own card back.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because it's not selling for the price they want or they thought. Right. So it's like, are you just going to keep doing that for 3 years until maybe they build up a resume, and then you might get 10 to 15%? I mean, I don't know. It's weird, and I don't think it's a good direction for younger people in the hobby. Who everybody wants the hobby to grow so bad. It's like, well, then you need to talk about some of this shit. Don't go splurge on these cards that you see on YouTube that people are passing the passing the bag across the board. It's not sustainable. You're just taking too big of a risk.
The thing is that my source told me about the Kurt's card care thing, and that was in the open, but he's told me a bunch of things also. But he had potential inside info that the sale that went down, the $1.1 million, it was multiple cards that were exchanged, and the price was significantly lower than that $1.1 million. Now, Card Ladder, I think, authenticated that sale, but then what stops someone from sending the money back partially after that sale went down? Card Ladder's not going to see that. So that's why, when I see $1.1 million, I'm like, okay, that's BS. Herbert hasn't done crap. I mean, Tom Brady cards weren't selling for $1.1 million before the pandemic, were they? I don't remember. They may have been, but Tom Brady.
Not to my knowledge. Now, if it were, it would have to be like his Bowman Chrome rookie refractor. But I don't.
That wasn't even selling for that much. That was going for $100-something thousand.
His most
would have had to
valuable,
be like a PSA 10. Like it would have to have been a mint one because I don't think his.
It would have to be like his the
playoff contenders. The contenders.
Oh yeah, the contenders.
But that wasn't even going for $1
valuable
million. That was not going for $1 million. So, like, all of a sudden, you're telling me like this 20-some-year-old is spending over $1 million on Herbert cards. In my opinion, like another source of mine who sent me information with the interaction with the person who bought that card, he was manipulating, or he believes he was manipulating the Herbert market, where he's like, oh, $1.1 million, and then he offloaded all those Herbert cards, and then that sale was in $1.1 million from my memory.
Yeah.
Or from what I was told. So, and then they used Kurt's card care, by the way, on that card. And then I got crap for it rather than the potential hanky-panky that went down in that sale. I always find that interesting.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. When I do my KD index, we're going to take all of this into account. And it'll be totally legit. Totally legit.
Are you using your Kurt's card care on your KD cards?
Yes.
Do you find it?
I'm going to use my Kurt's card care. I'm going to curate it. I'm going to gatekeep it. I'm going to tenderize, and then I'm going to come out with my index, and then we're only going to go to the biggest auction houses and get the biggest KD sales, and we're just going to pump the shit out of it.
Make sure to sell it on Heritage, because I think you could bid on your own cards on there legally, I believe.
Don't worry, bro. We got this covered. We got this, bro. This is, we're going to gatekeep this. Don't worry.
So I think a bunch of these auction houses, you could technically bid on your cards.
Yeah, dude. That's
crazy.
Even eBay, like you said, with those private bids or whatever.
Yeah.
We were talking. We were talking about a specific KD card I was after because I was talking to him.
Yeah.
I remember I told you I was like, he's like $400 or $500 over. It's like a $400 card. And I ended up winning it on auction because it came up because nobody was.
You should have messaged that guy.
I thought about it, messaged him back and be like, dude, I literally bought this card off of somebody's eBay account that you happen to know. And be like, I told you it was worth this. The marketplace decided. I told you it was.
So do you think these influencers are trying to, and also the elite of the hobby establishment, they're trying to get these kids in because they don't know any better? And then they're trying to get these rich kids because they're because they're not going to fool us. We're going to call it out. We're going to get blacklisted. I get it. None of these big channels will have us on anymore. But, who can you fool? It's these young kids that are naive.
Or naive people in general.
Oh, yeah, naive people. I mean, I see some of the comments in other videos of people our age, and they believe this nonsense that they're spouting.
Enough to even defend their favorite hobby heroes.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, what's funny is that some people get so triggered at us, but they don't have that same passion going after the fraud in the hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's up
with
with that?
It's because we're worse. We're negative.
Yeah.
We're negative.
We're bad.
It's looking the other way.
I mean, like, you are dealing with like counterintelligence or whatever you do for your job, LT, you detect all these small details. But I'm just thinking, like, why do these people get so enraged when you're calling out fraud? I still don't
Because they're
understand.
in. It's just like Steve said. When you have money to lose and you have to pump positivity and all the bullshit, you don't want to lose the money that you invest into it. It's no different from if you're investing in coins, crypto, collectibles, Funkos, whatever. If you have your money invested, of course, why would you want it to fail? You're gonna look the other way.
I also think there's a LARPing aspect to this. The hobby's like a naive escape for a lot of people. And the thing is, like, all the stuff you're told in the hobby is a part of this like LARPing land where it's like, oh, this is away from all the bullshit of real
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
And I do think there is a naivety that goes into that where people think this is an escape, but it's like you're using real money.
yeah.
It's not LARPing. But I think people have, for a while, were looking at it as like, this is my escape. I'll just go into the hobby. I'll watch my content. I'll spend on breaks and do this, this, and that. And then they don't want to hear that their magic LARPing land has potential Hankus Pankus because that shatters your matrix. Oh, my escape isn't the escape it was. The real shit's coming into my hobby life now. I think there is a naivety to it where people just they'd rather not hear it. Just like the news.
Yep.
You know, people will block out some of this stuff because it's like, that'll shatter my matrix.
Or they'll listen to that specific person or news source because that's what they want to hear. That's what they want to believe.
Yeah, there's confirmation
bias.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you're talking about naive people, and I talked to Steve about this, where I still get into arguments with, that, or like, not arguments, like disagreements with the valedictorian of my high school. And, he believes like the mainstream media and all that stuff, right? He says, and when he can't disprove what I'm saying, and his other buddy from high school, they call me a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And what I get called here, and some people, that I like, they sometimes say, hey, I'm too much into conspiracies. Fine. Okay. But like other people said, like, stop talking about conspiracies. I want facts. I want all these receipts. And I usually observe behavior. That's how I figured out, with Curator, right?
Yeah.
It was his behavior. And then I started getting receipts after that. And now I have more receipts on and dirt on people. But, all of this is conspiracy theory. Like, I still don't understand that.
There's
mindset.
a good comment from Dan L. If you want to post it on there. Thank you, Dan. That's to you too, Steve. That's a good comment.
Yeah.
From Dan L.
The good news, there's more scrutiny now, thanks in part to you all in SCR. These folks operated with impunity for years. The trimmers, the pumpers, the con artists.
Yeah. I was lucky. My old man told me right away when I was young in the 90s when I got into this, because that's when I started watching sports, started playing youth league, you collect your favorite players. So, and he told us, he's like, when you go to a table, he's trying to make money. So like, you got to be prepared to know what you're doing. If you're going to be wandering around with your own money, buying cards and doing stuff, like, people will take advantage of you.
Yes.
Like, I saw a comment, like, there is a lot of con men. There are and they want to make money.
Yeah.
So it's like, now that more money got blown up into this hobby, like, do you think that just went away? So and that's where, like, people can't be so naive. It's like, dude, like, this is real money in this hobby, man.
Here's something that I just thought of, Steve. You just brought a point to me, and I was just thinking about the whole nerd talk with. I'm sure Curator and Wilson were not popular and probably picked on in school, and now they're big people, and they're just using them examples, right? But I don't know if you play sports, Raul, but Steve and I still compete. We played sports in high school. I wouldn't consider myself a jock. I was an average, whatever. But I love sports, just like Steve said. And I know, Raul, you love sports. You have to have some kind of knowledge of sports, not just following your teams, but also players, analytics, just like Steve's saying. And that translates into the card world. So when you have idiots that give advice, Will Grier, Bo Bichette to the Dodgers, or whatever, guys that talk out of their ass, that don't understand sports, that's where people look at the bullshit. Because if you're a collector, right, or if you are investing, you're looking for tips and stuff, right? Wouldn't you go to someone that actually knows on sports and players? And of course, sports is subjective, right? It's all different opinionated, right? But have some kind of knowledge if you're going to give it out to someone, and don't give out bad advice. You know what I mean? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The thing is that there's a lot of people in the hobby that know information. They don't do content, or they do it occasionally. So you don't hear those voices. And then all the other people, they became successful. Like, not to pick on Jeff Wilson again, but Jeff Wilson made millions of dollars. His wife made millions of dollars. And part of it was believing in themselves, being positive, and sure, they probably had, some backing, maybe from, their parents or family. And then now they go into the card hobby thinking that they could replicate that same model. But this is a whole different model. I went through, the gold crash of 2012, and I figured out, okay, this is how collectibles work. This is how alternative assets work. So I've had, I've struck out before, but I learned my lessons and, applied to sports cards. So I don't think Jeff Wilson really has failed in terms of investing until he came into sports cards, to be honest. I mean, he may have had a business go under here, under there, but I don't think he's dealt with that much failure, and that's why people, flock to him, because he speaks with confidence. He has a lot of subscribers and all that.
Yeah. Well, and another thing too is by region, right? So you guys, Steve, you're in Ohio. Bro, you're in Chicago. I'm in SoCal. Yep. And we know which cards people buy in the area. Like in my area, it's Kobe Bryant, Shohei Ohtani. Just a few examples, right? And then I'm sure for you guys, you have certain players that and maybe from the hometown or wherever in college that's going to sell around. So it can't speak to the large spectrum of. That's my problem with the whole influencer market, right? Is these certain players are also regionally based as well. You know what I mean? Someone who wants to buy a Steph Curry card would gladly probably buy it over in California, but is that going to be the same person buying in Florida and New York? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think it's subjective when it comes to that certain player, and it's by team base, right? Or college, right? That's another thing. College is a big thing. College is not big in California, by the way. College is huge, I know, in the Midwest, right? Because there's not a lot of professional teams. But that's another thing, that people go after college players, even if they go to professional teams. Those are the kind of people that they go after.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about they go after college players, what do you mean? I'm trying to.
So yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I'll just real quick, just from like I'm in Ohio, so like, dude, you have a ton of Ohio State fans, and it's like I know a lot of guys who will just PC Buckeyes who make it to the
okay.
league.
I see what you're saying.
Even if they don't like pan out to be superstars, they'll buy their like college uniform
exactly
stuff, where they'll like. You do have a very, at least in the Midwest, you do have a big pocket of collecting, of like you do have some very specific, unique things, and I do agree. Like it can be regionally based. So like where I'm at, everybody knows the Browns suck. The Browns are fucking trash. But
they got Deshaun Watson.
I give credit to Browns fans and Cleveland collectors, because they will support their team and their players. Like, even as bad as the Browns are, everybody around here knows you can sell Browns cards.
Yeah.
You can sell Steelers cards. You can sell Buckeye cards. You can sell, in certain areas, maybe there's some guys who went to Pitt or even WVU, because I'm like an hour from both. Like, there are certain niche things that happen in my area where it's like, yeah, you'll have a collect, like Penguins. You'll have a lot of Pens fans where I'm at. So, and again, like, you could walk around with your Minka Fitzpatricks around our shows and people will buy them.
Yeah.
If I come out to LA, LT, nobody's going to buy a Minka Fitzpatrick. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say this. Back to my curating. No matter where you go, they're going to buy Kevin Durant cards. No matter where you go. Tenderize this.
You keep saying it, man. Kevin Durant. I'll make sure I pump on my channel.
Fanatics.
Did you go to Jeff Wilson to start your Kevin Durant index?
What? What was that?
Did you go to Jeff Wilson so you could create your own Kevin Durant index?
Of course. He wanted the very best, so why wouldn't you call me?
So when is that index going to come out?
Oh, don't press me. I'll come. You guys will be the first to know. We're still working on all the, all the little things.
Are you going to then be selling those cards?
My KDs? No, I would never do that. There's no hanky panky. There's no conflict of interest.
No conflict of interest.
I'm not trying to spike the prices of my personal collection. It has nothing to do with that. Don't think like that. That's negative, Raul.
So speaking of conflict of interest, that Star Wars index, Pancake Analytics was sending me pics of that Star Wars index. It was actually going down. So after it's created, which is interesting. And your boy LT, I think Curator was selling some of these at the show.
What?
Yeah. Conflict of interest.
What was he selling? Star Wars or?
Yeah, Star Wars.
There was sarcasm in that one. Yeah.
Hey, man,
Well, it's just
capitalism.
Like, yeah.
He, like I said, I have the clip I sent to you guys. He sat there and he said, well, maybe, because Murley's definitely the beta. I mean, Curator takes all the attention away. But I mean, Curator says he takes responsibility of being a trendsetter, right? And Star Wars is one of them. So it's like he used to use this hashtag pump what you like. I mean, besides the gay hashtag Curator Army, I don't know which is gayer, or Curator Effect. I mean, pump what you like. Those are his own hashtags. I'm Raul. I'm not lying, Raul. Am I correct? Those are hashtags.
So what happened was, I kept on calling him a pumper and all that stuff of Star Wars. And then he, on his video, he said like, hey, look, we shouldn't be ashamed of showing our cards. And then he created that hashtag, hashtag pump what you like.
Yeah, there's a big difference in showing your cards and like, this is what I PC. Like, obviously everybody knows I'm kidding. I've been on with you guys how many times? Like, I'm a KD fan. I'm a KD collector. Like, you're not going to see me selling my KDs. You know what I mean? Like, if I put a KD out in my case, the price tag is so stupid. Everybody knows it's like, he's not selling that card. It's just take up space. And it's like, I don't know. It's different when you're invested in your like marketing a certain thing and then you're selling it on the other hand. It screams of pumping. And if you can't in your rational brain like wrap your mind around that, I just don't know what to tell you.
Oh, I gotta take care of it. I gotta send something to Dan.
What happened?
I gotta send something to Dan. He messaged me. Right. It's you guys will hear about it later. Don't worry.
I actually respect guys who will put a certain card out in their case, and they'll just tell you, it's like, listen, I'm really not trying to sell it. I'd rather just people just look at it. It's a personal collection piece. Like, but see, I appreciate stuff like that because I look at, as corny as it sounds, I look at cards as art. When they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at a show and I came across a dude who had a PSA 10 Topps Chrome rookie refractor of KD. That card was like a $50,000 card at one time. Like, I know I'm not buying that. Now at the time it was down to like $13K. But I asked the guy, I said, dude, I'll never probably hold one of these. Can I pick it up and look at it? And I think the price tag he had on it, he even knew, he's like, I'm not going to sell it for this price. I'm under on it. I just put that tag. So like, usually if you talk to these guys, like people will be honest with you and they'll be like, yeah, it's overpriced. And that's why I even want to look at it. It's like, dude, I'm not buying this. I just want to hold one. I've never held one. I've never seen one out in the wild.
Bob Boozle has some good comments.
Let's see. Dan says, I said it last week. The best curated clip is him responding to SCR's videos saying it was good for his business because people now know he's a lawyer and they will go to him after watching.
Yeah,
SCR.
because he's a shitty lawyer. He doesn't realize the shit he says comes out of his mouth.
I see your comment, Santino. This was like earlier last year sometime. This is
Bozo.
Isn't it 7K now? That card?
What's that?
Isn't it 7K?
Oh yeah, now it is. Yeah. It's dropped 50% from when I was looking at it. I mean, this was like a year ago when I was at the show.
So wait, didn't Sasha T like buy it for 50K at one point? But then I commented in one person's IG, and then Sasha T responded to me as surprised, and he said, "No, I got rid of it in a few weeks." That's quite interesting. So he allegedly bought it for 50,000 from, I think, was it PWCC, I think, and then he got rid of it quickly.
That's the game,
What
though. That's the flipper game.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
So someone like me who bought it would still hold on to it, and we would be
Right.
leaking out our ass.
Yeah.
But like
What
somebody who bought, like, no, I don't know if Sasha T personally collects anything, but I know but the thing is, he doesn't hide it. Like, that's
Yeah, no, and like I told you,
he's playing the numbers game. He's making money. Like, I get it. You know what I mean?
You know Sasha T, right, LT?
I cannot confirm or deny that. Yes, Sasha. Yeah, I mean, you can look at my IG. Yeah, Sasha.
Right back.
Sasha's I will vouch for Sasha. I'm a fan of him, and we've had good conversations. And he's obviously steered away from the content stuff, as you see. He doesn't. I don't know if it had to do with that airport deal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's still doing his stuff. You know, he's still going to shows and he does
He's
his
still
things.
flipping and all that.
Yeah, he does his thing. But yeah, I think he has an LLC, but he's been doing it for years now, and he's definitely not one of those influenced guys. I mean, you know, he's doing it smartly in that way.
I see. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the Pokemon deal too. He bought the card and then he got rid of it in what, 3-4 weeks?
I don't know, dude. I'd have to go look back. Was it recently or was this like
no? I mean, remember that Pokemon deal? Like, he bought from Card Kahuna, that guy involved in the other Pokemon.
Oh, I'd have to go watch that, man. I don't remember.
That was actually the top, where the trade equivalent of $500,000, and then after that, I think got rid of the card, but I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Is that the casting couch?
Casting couch. You have to ask Steve once he gets back.
I was laughing at Bob Boozle's comments. He said,
"Yes, if I dip, yes, I do."
Merle the squirrel gathers the acorns and gatekeeper buys them for pennies on dollars to self-detriments. I love that. And I think that's the funny part, because Merle is, you know, he doesn't seem like a bad dude.
He seems like a really nice person.
He does. And that's, I think, Curator, the piece of shit he is, he just takes advantage of him, you know? And it doesn't seem like a two-way friendship, you know? It just seems very one thing, because Curator talks over him and has to still look at me. I'm the Curator. Like, I'm sure if I met Merle, he's probably a nice guy. Like, I sincerely think that, but I think it's by association with the Curator. You know, it's you're guilty of your audience, right? I'm sure the people who hate us, right, if they saw the shows, they would sit there and just cringe at us, right, and not say shit, because they wouldn't say shit to us. I mean, you imagine the 5-6 of us in a show.
They wouldn't come to us.
They wouldn't do shit to us. It's just like I told you, Steve. I've told you this a million times. Curator has seen me in local shows twice. And I was a vendor. He wouldn't approach me. He knows exactly who I am. And this is before I'm not even big, but as I'm starting talking with Raul and you guys now, like, he's a fucking bitch, bro. Like, he doesn't have the balls to sit there and talk to you in person. Like, that's how good he thinks he is.
When I would watch some of his stuff, and there were a couple times when he went live, and I tried asking pretty fair questions. I don't think it was like shitty or whatever. Like, it wasn't attacking at all. It was just, you know, a pretty fair, based off stuff he was in his live. And it's like,
you triggered him, didn't you?
Well, no, I think, I don't know if it was my comment or somebody else, but he was just like, "Oh, I'm going to get rid of these clown comments." And like, next
he does that.
Like, comments are like, I don't know. If he's not going to have interactions via online, I kind of can understand why.
Dan has said this.
He's not going to do it in person.
Raul has said this. Dan has said this. It's very cowardly to block people. Like, if you're going to have a discussion, be a fucking man and talk about it, right? But as soon as you block it, you move into a beta bitch mode.
It's like, if you,
Raul,
how do I want to say this? Excuse me, but like, if you're avoiding a challenging conversation, or maybe somebody who's like challenging your ideas on something, like, and you're not even willing to engage in the conversation, like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think I was asking anything like attacking him. I was asking.
You're just asking a simple question.
Where are you getting these prices from? Or like, was that, you know, I can't remember exactly. It was so long ago. I can't remember what I asked or even the context.
You probably offended him.
But I thought to myself, like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't ask anything shitty. And like, why would that be a clown? That's a fair question. You know what I mean? I don't know though. Yeah, what are you gonna do? So people can maneuver how they want, but the thing is, it's like you're gonna have people that are, they're not gonna favor your content very much. I mean, I'm sure he has people who are devout fans and stuff, and they have every right to. But it's like I'm not going to follow somebody who's not willing to engage or at least discuss certain stuff. Like you'll get on a live and talk about a response to sports card radio, but you won't talk to sports card radio.
That is true.
The thing is that in terms of PSA, what is it called?
Joining PSA's newest division, the Hobby Victims Unit. I have a whole category of
you have all these pictures saved.
I told you guys I do the research, man, and I know you guys appreciate it. I said, like, this is the cringy shit he puts. Like, tell me you're not associated with PSA without admitting it. Just this
like,
is your audience.
Wait, can you buy jackets from PSA?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's in bed with them.
So the
you
thing
buy
is,
shout outs from celebrities online.
Cameos. Oh yeah, I did a video on it. And then
I remember when you did that.
He got pissed off. That was, I think, Thanksgiving night. He said, like, you should act better on Thanksgiving night. That was in the nighttime. I just saw like cameo in the bottom. I'm like, I just started busting laughing. And then on Instagram, I think he blocked comments.
Yeah, he does.
Like I usually go head on with people. Like now YouTube does delete some of the comments or hides the comments. So I can't see it. Some people say I'm deleting comments. No, I'm not. But like, you know how it is, the comments, they just like come, right at me. So then I go right back at them.
Raul, you know what screenshotting is such an amazing tool because that's what we do. We screenshot stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I see it immediately. I screenshot it. Evidence.
Oh yeah, the thing is that I was able to get the response of what's their name, Platinum Breaks. Remember that kid that was like almost stabbed?
Oh yeah. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So then on a Friday after work, he responded, "Yo, you were just joking around. I know him for a long time. I know his kids and all that." I'm like, the dude threatened you and you're acting like nothing happened. I'm like,
dude, I heard,
I got the screen record and I posted on Instagram, but they deleted it off of YouTube. But go ahead, Steve.
Of course.
That shit was messed up, dude.
That was messed up.
That was for real messed up. And he's apparently holding a box cutter to him, forcing him to say that stuff. As a grown man, cut me. Like, cut me.
Yeah. See what happens.
Stab me. That's so belittling as a man. You're like holding a young man hostage, forcing him to say that. Like, dude, that like hurt me watching that. That was like, it's not a movie. Like, that seemed real, bro. I was like fired up. Like, man, if that fat fuck ever I'd beat his fucking ass so bad, cut me. That box cutter's going, you got 2 jabs, and then I'm at you. That was fucked up, man. That's messed up. That ain't right.
Yeah,
I don't know why Dan's not on.
He said he has to do some work. He said that he may be coming on soon, or he may be coming on later. I don't know how long we'll go on for.
I'm gonna be on for about 15 more minutes, and then
okay.
Maybe we'll pick my kid. But I love this stuff. It's funny when Steve was mentioning is like we're gonna do another one. I was like, I don't know, and Raul saved the day.
Well, Ziggy brought it up.
Yeah, Ziggy brought it up. I want
to do next Saturday if you guys are around. So I can host.
Me, I got to start drinking coffee to stay up this late. So I was like, just somebody give me a call or drop a link. Let me know what's going on. So I knew I was going to be available. If I'm not going out on my birthday night or St. Patty's Day night, I'll probably be available for this.
I know. We're see this qualifies as dorks, right? I mean, we're sitting here talking about cards and then making fun of influencers.
I'm not better than anybody. I'm a nerd card dork. I'm proud of it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I played some sports and shit, but like it takes you back to my childhood, man. It's nostalgia for me. I enjoy it.
But there's normalcy to it. It's not. We're just not just talking about cards. We're talking about stocks. We talk about women. We talk about all kinds of random ass shit. So that's what people appreciate. It's like You're having it's men talk. It's like you remember that? Do you remember that the Man Show? It was the Man Show, right?
Yeah.
With what the hell's his name? Adam Carson. You know what I'm talking about?
Jimmy Kimmel used to be on that, dude.
Yeah, I
Oh.
wouldn't be promoting Jimmy Kimmel.
Whoa, I didn't say it.
Some list.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about that list, but it was
Oh.
the original Man Show, or maybe I think it was Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla.
Carolla, yeah.
And then it was.
Let me use
was
Google.
It Doug Stanhope and Joe Rogan, or maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
Joe Rogan out there? Let me see.
I don't. Maybe it wasn't Joe Rogan, but I think
You're
Doug
right.
Stanhope.
Jimmy Kimmel was on. Joe Rogan. Yep. Wow. Joe Rogan. There's no way he's tied into the list. There's no fucking way.
There's no way, but I heard he is into dudes, but that's a different story.
Well, Joe Rogan?
Yeah, that's what Owen Benjamin says all the time.
Say
but Owen Benjamin says
in his defense, it could be. I don't know, but Owen Benjamin be calling a lot of people gay.
Adam Carolla,
he calls a lot of people gay.
Joe Rogan, Doug Stanhope, Bill Foster, and Aaron Hamill.
Yeah, dude, I remember it was Comedy Central. I remember that show, bro. It was like
Comedy Central was amazing 20 years ago.
Until it became woke.
Yeah. It's like Dave Chappelle was on Comedy Central.
Dave Chappelle is a god. I love the fact
he stole.
No, but he didn't sell out because
he stole jokes though.
Oh,
I mean that was later on in his career.
Sorry, Raul. But you can't buy him out. You know what I mean? Is what I like about him is he's gonna say what the fuck he wants.
Shout out Ohio. He lives in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, just like me.
Does he?
I don't know exactly where. He moved to Ohio somewhere, like I think outside Akron, maybe somewhere. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not Akron.
Rogan's
he lives in Ohio.
Hey, Charles is on point, man. Joe Rogan will kick your ass. I mean, that's
no. Joe Rogan, yeah, he
legitimate. He actually has a
black belt.
He has a video where someone talked shit on him, and he had him come to the gym, and he fucked him up. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I think he would beat taller dudes.
It's the whole thing.
Joe Rogan's like what, 51?
51, yeah, 51. Something like that.
He's a jack dude, bro.
He's probably what, 5'7"? He's not a big dude, but man, I bet you he at 50 some years old and his height, he could probably fuck most of the male population up. Just fuck them.
In what way though? Like fuck.
Oh well, I mean, I'm thinking of beating ass, not cheeks. But
did you see this comment, Steve, from Brendan Ryan? This sounds like Owen Benjamin.
How dare you?
How dare you?
He's not gay.
I love this guy, Brendan. I love that dude.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is
this is interesting.
To be honest with you, the reason I started saying bait all the time is because of Jesse Lee Peterson, and then Raul told me about he might be gay too. I was like, what? Just shitting on my parade.
Yeah, it's weird. Let's see.
Go ahead.
Tom Dillon is the GOAT. I really don't watch him.
I bought 4 Mandalorian cards since we have streamed together, guys, just so you know.
Interesting.
Blue is my favorite color, so I bought refractors. And so what I like to do on eBay is, I love you guys, I'm not bored, but I like to send offers and see how low ball. That's the Asian in me. And then if I get the cat, why is this so funny, Steve? Like, come on, bro, I'm Asian. Come on, bro. I bought 4 cards though. So
hey, I did that on my birthday, or was it Friday? I laid around all day Friday watching college basketball, and I just sent lowball offers to all these eBay sellers, and I would send you can send a message when you make an offer, and
right.
I'm just like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, dude. The best is when
I'll send some lowball offers on
eBay. I've done that shit, dude. Yeah. You know what's funny is I'll send stuff as a respect. I'll ask, hey, you have a best offer, right? I'm like, hey, how low are you willing to go? What's your best offer? And I hate the responses when they're like, well, send an offer. It's like, dude, I'm obviously asking how low you're gonna go, so just take the bullshit out, so I know where we can meet.
Kind of fast track towards at least the
it's like
deal. That way we don't have to send offers and counter offers back.
They're trying to get the highest price, so in terms of negotiation, they don't want to give their price. That's what it's all about.
I think it's gay.
Well, when people do that, I just keep like, I'll up it like $10, and then they'll be like, "Well, that's not really much of it." And it's like, well, you told me to make an offer.
Yeah, it's not that on market movers.
But I mean, like, yeah, I'll be honest. Yesterday, I did send some lowball offers on some cards because I even wrote in one of the notes. I was like, "Hey, the banks are collapsing. You should panic." And Kevin Durant.
You did on Joe Rogan cards.
Take the lowball, like take the low hanging fruit.
I'm gonna buy Joe Rogan cards now. I'm gonna go look. I like
Joe Rogan.
I'm sure he's got some cards.
To be honest with you, I would buy a Joe Rogan. Like, I would buy a Joe Rogan card.
Yeah, I'd buy an RPA of his thong.
Shut up, Raul. You just called him gay.
I did not. Owen Benjamin called him gay. I was just quoting Owen Benjamin like you were quoting someone else earlier in the stream. I was just going by what Owen Benjamin say. But Owen Benjamin, I think I sent you a clip where it sounded weird what he said 10 years ago. I mean, he may be.
Bro, yeah, you did send me that. I thought to myself, it's like, damn. But he was involved with, I don't want to say like Hollywood, but he was
Hollyweird
mainstream, for a while. So maybe he did say some shit that was like, sus.
Let's see. Are we doing this next Saturday? I'm cutting off.
I don't know. I have to see my schedule. I may be going out.
That's what you said before, but I think.
Yeah, I know. But then my wife had a root canal today, so.
Oh, I hope she does okay. I hope she's better.
Charles,
if I get Dan and Ziggy and Hobby, I know you'll jump on.
I'll jump on later if that's the case. I want a 2009 UFC Joe Rogan silver card out of 188. It's pricey. That's what Charles says. Yeah, those were selling like crazy during the pandemic. Really? And same thing with Kanye cards, but then now you're no longer allowed to.
It's so funny you say that.
Kanye.
I want the cards. Kanye Taylor Swift card. I've been eyeballing, the one where he interrupts her on stage. That thing's like a $70, $80 raw card.
Today still?
I don't know. I haven't checked recently, but I will own it. I will own one of those cards one day.
But the thing is that, for a PC, that's fine. But like cultural relevancy, if someone's trying to speculate, I think I think people are going to stay away from that. But
you mean they wouldn't buy a Sleepy Joe RPA?
Sniffing Joe RPA, right? Right, Steve? Didn't you have that story about
with the scratch and sniff?
Bro, he be sniffing so many people. It's children. It's fucking weird.
Wait, how is this guy not arrested? They want to arrest Trump, but
they're doing all this shit, and they still won't talk about that laptop. They won't.
I brought up a bad combo. Oh well, I don't care.
Can't be censored, bro.
I don't, dude. I get it. Like, hey.
It's like, did you? Oh wait, I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
But at this point, like, I don't know.
Did you see Ashley Biden's diary,
bro? There's
that was just messed up, man.
That family, and it's just like this. Like people still think I personally think he's a clone at this point. Like when I see pictures of him versus like when he was VP with Obama, like it doesn't even look like the same guy.
I agree. He doesn't sound the same.
Like a clone.
Like, don't they have double bodies of all these presidents and stuff? Like, didn't the Ukrainian president there was a double body of him?
All these presidents got double body. You ever see what was it? The Star Wars with like when they first came out with like the Jar Jar Binks movie. Padme had like 6 doppelgangers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like that shit goes on in politics. Like, oh, you guys conspiracy. Shut up, Steve. Shut up.
Where are your receipts, man?
Where are your receipts, Steve? They're not
Why'd you bring politics in the cards?
What?
Why'd you bring politics and you're a bigot?
Oh, bro.
That's always.
I've been called a racist, or not directly, but insinuating that I was racist. That's a first.
You have a Vietnamese guy and you have a Italian guy, right, Steve?
You can say it. I'm white.
A European descent.
You can say I am Italian, but
Caucasian.
I'm Caucasian, I guess. Yeah. So you can say it. I'm not diverse. Sorry, everybody.
Not diverse.
We had an Aussie on my channel last week. I mean, how diverse can we not get?
Dude, like they're talking about the hobby and they want diversity. Do you think they'd accept us?
I think we need to add a woman. If we had a woman or a trans, I think we'll be good.
Steve's like, seriously?
Come on, could you imagine Steve's conversation? The woman has something to say. It's like you know the girl from ESPN, Molly Queer, Molly Queer, who's married to Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
And could you imagine Steve just sitting there, just like,
Yo, it's funny you bring up ESPN because all them women, all of them, it's like, what are we doing? It's like that's like the feminization of what's going on. They want men to be feminine now. It's so fucking weird. And it's like, listen, I don't care what Candace Parker has to say about NBA players in an NBA game. It's not to diminish anything about Candace Parker or anything that she's achieved. But it's like, I don't want to hear a woman talking about like, well, you know, about the NBA. It's like, you don't know. Like, what do you know? Like, who was the Malika Andrews? I watch her on ESPN. I can't watch it anymore. Like, Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson played in the league, and she's trying to like tell them about stuff that's going on in the league. And you know, they're looking, thinking like, bitch, what are you talking about? Like, you're going to tell us when we played full careers in the NBA, but you know something we don't? It happens all the time, but these guys just have to get paid to like be simps. You know, don't you question them. Yes, queen, say what you want. It's like bullshit. You know, these guys are looking at each other like, what the hell is she talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, doesn't Perkins say like all these things?
I'm gonna bring a woman on this panel, Steve. I'm gonna find them. We're gonna do a casting.
I'm not listen. Bring a woman on the panel. I don't have any problem.
You got the casting couch.
Yeah, I mean, like what woman would come on our program in the hobby?
She wouldn't.
No one would.
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
But I mean, I'm not a dude.
I'm not against.
I'm not against anybody. I don't judge it. Like I said it on the last live. Like, I'm not going to glorify somebody or some group of person just because of something like that. Like, I don't want a woman on the show because we need a woman. I'd like a woman on the show. It's like she's a collector,
right?
She's a seller, she's involved in the market. Like, I want merit. I don't want private parts. Like, give me substance, not just Molly on First Take because she's hot.
This is an interesting topic. Hockey 99. I have response to this. Why doesn't the hobby promote more diversity? Many industries do.
Hey guys, I'm gonna cut off, but it was a pleasure.
All right, man.
LT, have a good one, brother.
Keep the show going, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you, man. So, how long can you go? Like, 15?
I got a little bit more time.
Okay. I'll continue on. So, why doesn't the hobby promote more diversity? Many industries do this. I mean, I really don't.
I think the hobby has been. I've noticed guys talking about stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I thought I've been hearing stuff like that. You're hearing women of the hobby, all kinds of diverse stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't look at race in terms of all this. I'm looking at, opinion, diversity of opinion. I mean, would they have our voices like LT, you, me, if we didn't curse, if we, we're a little more PC, right? Would they allow our ideas to flourish? No.
I would agree. It comes more to ideology than anything.
It's ideology, and I'm thinking like, look, I don't care about color. I care about ideas.
I don't live in that realm. Like, I'm not going to act like it doesn't exist. Like,
right.
I'm not ignorant, but it's like, that's not like on my metric scale of like, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like it's my place to tell any group of person to do something. I feel like if you're involved, you're involved. And if you're not, you have the choice not to. That's why I call out the women of the hobby stuff. Like, nobody's keeping women from the hobby. It comes down to general interest. It's like, if women want to participate, they have it's a free market. It's an unregulated market. You can participate. I can't help it that the general interest of women is not in sports or sports cards. So like, is it on people to like force women to get involved? Like, this is where a lot of this stuff I question. So let's use the example of women of the hobby. Like, I understand that women are in the hobby, and I understand that there's not a whole bunch of them. But it's like this agenda around, like, what's the end goal? Like, what is your goal? And then they'll say, well, we want more women in the hobby. It's like, well, then what does that mean? Do you want more women spending money in the hobby? Because I think that's what you're trying to say. And if that's the case, if there's anything that's come up, it's the color green. That's what you want. Like, it's not this talking piece agenda that you're about. There's a bottom line interest involved here. And I think that's mainly, I think they're just masking that with social justice shit.
The thing is that I worked in marketing, and what they had was they had, marketing geared towards uh, Hispanics and African Americans, because that's a market that's, what they feel is untapped in America. And I think they keep on saying, hey, we need diversity and this and that to tap a market that hasn't been reached in the hobby. And ultimately, I think if they want to get people of all backgrounds, it needs to start, I believe, when people are younger, or maybe with the local sports team.
Right.
And I give an example. I think someone did, a counter argument to me in his video. I think it's Simon something, whatever it was. I said, hey, look, I grew up with WGN as a kid. And the thing is, I became a Cubs fan because of WGN. We didn't have money, and WGN allowed me to, watch Cubs games.
Mm-hmm.
And then now people are saying, hey, look, you could go on YouTube and you could find the teams. But the thing is, you don't have that same effect. When we grew up, it's that, you stuck to your home team. Now it's like on YouTube, you don't have an allegiance. I don't know. Maybe it has to start with, locally, and then, you have Fanatics, sending people to the games, giving people cards. I think that's how you could get long-term people involved.
You
But
know what's neat is I was down in Arizona. It's over a year ago. It would have been November of 2021, and I went down with a buddy, and we toured Arizona Diamondback Stadium, and they were talking about this. They were like, they're going to have a thing for kids with sports cards, like Fanatics is going to be involved. They were talking about this then, and how they were going to have kids opening up cards, and they were going to start selling sports cards and stuff in the stadium, and doing marketing stuff around sports cards with kids and stuff at the stadium. So it's like, again, it comes with a bottom line. There's a money interest involved, but I agree with you. Like, if you're going to get involved in this, you have to start at a young age, pretty much. You don't have to, but if you're like totally ignorant to this until you're like 20s or 30, your odds are you're less inclined to get involved. There's not that nostalgia connection. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
a lot of us, we were collecting cards as kids, and there's a nostalgia piece. I mean, if you collect, that has a lot to do with it. If you're in it to flip it, I guess you really don't need that, though. The problem is now it's going to get to the point where the market's going to be so bad and it's going to be so inflated with product. I don't know if I don't know. As much as everybody's gung ho about Fanatics, I don't know what to expect. I'm not a big Panini fan, I'm going to be honest, but it's like,
yeah.
Just because it's new does not mean it's good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like Fanatics. I think Sports Card Radio was talking about this as well. They need to make money, obviously. So the thing is, if they come into the hobby, okay, they're going to get the licenses. Okay, maybe they're going to get the National Treasures from Panini. Okay, they could grow their revenue. But then if they want to 10x it, that's what the CEO said. What does he have to do? He has to cut out the middleman. And then a lot of people are going to get screwed over. And then on top of it, you're going to have to see Fanatics, do some crazy things, hanky panky, as I call it. I mean, I don't know how they're going to grow the hobby 10x.
That's the thing. It's like they have a goal and they have an agenda, and they're going to like. I don't know that question as far as like you're not seeing a lot of the diversity stuff. Like, see, that's why I think you are seeing it because they, like you said, they want to tap into as many demographics, groups of people, whatever,
Right.
that maybe analytically that never were involved. How can we
Right.
branch out?
Right.
And, it sounds nice. I know it sounds inclusive and it sounds a certain way, but really it's about money. And if you
Right.
can't look at it that way, it's like, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean that's why they're gonna pump crazy things. Like they keep on talking about Star Wars. They keep on getting influencers talking about Star Wars. I'm thinking like, wait, are you paying these guys to just pump this up? Or are they just giving free product to these influencers? Oh, these Star Wars cards. But like if you look at the vintage Star Wars cards, no one wants those.
No.
And then now all of a sudden you want like these new Star Wars cards. I mean, you want to turn these into what? PMGs? What? Michael Jordan PMGs?
That's where I question a lot of the stuff that's going on with certain influencers because I feel like there's been that's what was going on with COVID boom. The sports card money was flowing in, so
Yeah.
people were trying to tap into these niche things and
Right.
and get involved, and they could defend it with prices because there's not a lot of long-term longevity in the marketplace for them. There's not
Right.
a lot of data that goes into the sales. Like like we said earlier, there's a lot of con men in this game. People want to make money in this hobby. So it's
Right.
like, if you can take advantage of a niche, like, let's be honest, dude. Like, I'm not, there's certain people who've grown to like F1. I'm not saying they don't
Right.
exist, but
Right.
there is no justification, in my opinion, of the way the F1 pricing and all that shit was going on. Like,
No.
who the fuck watches F1 like that?
She collects cards, does.
Bullshit. I mean, maybe she does. Whatever. I don't know. Frankly, I don't give a shit. But on a larger scale, is my point. It's like, again, I'm not diminishing people who collect F1. It's just the prices that were being thrown around because it was a new thing. It was shiny. There was no data on it. It was like just like a prospecting quarterback. There's not a lot of information out. How can we sell it for a lot quick before something bad happens? I don't know, man. People probably did, turn into F1 fans, but it's like not enough to keep these market prices sustainable. There's no way.
Thing is, there was a Netflix documentary, and I talked about it. I'm like, okay, this is just absurd. Why these prices are going like crazy? Because they watched a Netflix documentary, and then they wanted to go to the next market that wasn't, infiltrated because everything was going up, right? Basketball coming down, baseball started coming down, football started coming down. So they're
Right.
like, okay, what can we pump next?
Yep.
So then F1, okay, she collects cards, found a niche before everyone else did, right? It was F1. And then, this crazy Star Wars pumping, in the PMGs, Marvel PMGs. That's what they went into. And now, prices have come down, to earth. And there were like golden auction. And I think Carlos was saying, oh, this price is strong. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then, it started it went down 70-80% after that.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest with you, that might not even, a lot of that stuff's probably not even hit its bottom yet. There's a lot of sports cards that still haven't hit their bottom yet.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
I keep thinking, I see a lot of people like, have we hit the bottom yet? Have we hit the bottom? And it's like, I'm not trying to cause panic, but we're seeing banks fail. We're seeing the economy in a somersault. It's like, I don't think we've hit the bottom yet on some things.
I mean, I always look at the Fed, right? If they pump up the markets because everything's coming down right now, that's why I still think we got like one, okay year where things pick up a little bit, but nothing like crazy like 2020, 2021.
No,
that was insane.
Well, they're not going to be printing off money to send to everybody that's sitting at home now. I mean, our economy, people don't like to talk about it. We're fucked. Like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like a year from now.
People didn't realize like all this money being printed and all these people staying home from work. This come in a marketplace. This comes at a long-term effect. Like you're going to be paying for this eventually. That's what I don't think people totally understood. And it's like, when I would talk about certain stuff about this, everybody would be like, shut up, Steve. You sound like a conspiracy theory. That's not true, Steve. And it's just like, whatever. All right.
We've seen so many conspiracy theories. I mean, we could talk about that, and we'd get kicked off of YouTube.
That's the thing. That's why I brought up LARPing and like people's matrix and their fairy tale land. Like hobbies escape for a lot of people, and I understand that. But the thing is, it's like you're paying real money, and you're getting you're thinking of like an investment in Disneyland, where everybody's dreams comes true, and it's like, well, a lot of people's dreams have come crashing the fuck down,
right?
And because of those inflated prices, because of the way the planet's all aligned with COVID and staying home from work and the Fed printing money, and it's just like, yeah, I get it, the stars aligned, but at the same time, it's like this is going to come at a cost, and it's not just in the card hobby, crypto, our macro economy. I mean, look, gas, gas and groceries, dude. Like, we don't even know what anything's worth anymore.
Oh, yeah. The thing is that, I think I lost my train of thought. Let me look at this content. Elegant Elliot says, it's a bad sign when Sasha T's getting into flipping vintage. I didn't know that.
Dude, I'm seeing a lot of guys tap more into it because they know it's like this is safer. Like this is because this new shit. I think a lot of people know what's happening. It's just not a lot of people are willing to talk about it. It's like, listen, most of this stuff printed from 2017, 18 on is junk. It's junk. I mean, let's talk about basketball. Like, Giannis was 2013, his rookie year, but like, who in basketball is the next LeBron? I don't know. Like, there's like, I think people are trying to, and I'm not even a LeBron guy, but it's like, we don't have anybody like, at least football has Patrick Mahomes. And you know how many people are involved with cards are so relieved that Pat Mahomes won a second Super Bowl?
A lot.
A lot of people are relieved.
But his price really didn't go anywhere.
That's what I mean. It won't go up, dude. It won't. Yeah. It's like, okay, now we can breathe easy because it's like we don't feel as bad at the buy-in we got it. Like maybe it'll maintain at least. Because if he wasn't winning another Super Bowl, like he wasn't, I don't think his cards were going to maintain based off the boom prices. Look at Zion and Luka especially. I know it's a different sport, but let's go to basketball. Like, dude, they're going to have to do so much to maintain the COVID boom prices. I mean, they're going to have to do a lot. And I like Luka. I think he's a fantastic prospect. I think he's got Hall of Fame written all over him if he can stay healthy. But the prices he's in, it's like you can't tell me that if he doesn't win 3 or 4 rings that those prices aren't going to – I mean, he's going to have to do so much just to maintain.
Yeah, how much money laundering you think is going on in this hobby?
I don't know. That's a tough one to say. Like, I definitely think it's happening, especially through auction houses and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot's going on. I'll be on. I can't give like a percentage, or I'm not going to talk about certain specific. But in my opinion, I think a lot's going on.
Yeah, a lot's going on. So the thing is that, okay, we know trimming's going on. Some of these trim cards are going through these auction houses. The shill bidding's obviously there. And then, the wild card for these high-end auctions is the money laundering, right? This is a topic that no one in the mainstream is going to touch. Who's going to touch it? Me, Hobby Shark. That's about it. Maybe Sports Card Radio, but Dan the Card Man. But
yeah, I was going to say
Dan Ziggy. Like, besides this small group, no one's going to touch it.
Well, Ziggy said he didn't care the one time we were all live. He's like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care. But the problem is, like, I respect Ziggy. I love Ziggy. He knows that.
Right.
But like, the problem is, though, like, whether you care or you don't care, what's happening is if high-end auction houses are having these high-end sales, what they do is, I think Dan was talking about it too, what you're doing, though, is you're setting a market for that player, and it has a ripple effect. So, like, if somebody sees, somebody spent $3 million on the LeBron logo, man, maybe, oh, I should be buying his Topps Chrome cards. I should be buying this. I should be buying that. And it's like, I think what's happening is you're seeing money laundering involved in auction houses on some of these high-end sales where I don't even think the card is changing ownership. I don't think that's happening. But everybody in the hobby sees it was bought this much. Maybe we should run out. We're going to start investing in this person. And like when you were covering the Herbert sale, the 1-of-1 sale, like I know you hampered in on the Kurt's card carrot aspect of it, but like there's also the aspect of like that card sold and people were trying to like profit off of Herbert after that. So it's like there's a multifaceted hanky-pankiest going on where it's like I do think that card sale, if it's true or not, I personally don't know. It doesn't seem I wouldn't bet on it being totally a legit sale. But what I do think is it's going to be written up that way so that now people are more comfortable spending money on Justin Herbert. Because people know there's a large amount of people involved in the hobby that were invested in Justin Herbert.
So the thing is that made the mainstream headlines. It went to ESPN. So everyone and their mom thinks that, hey, look, that Justin Herbert card sold for $1.1 million and the other one sold for what, 1.4, whatever. I don't even remember. So, you're setting the spotlight. Oh, this sale is going this much. And then everyone was dancing up and down. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. And then I was the only one basically calling BS on it, which I don't know. It was weird. All right, let's take a look at some other comments here. Charles says, didn't Mac Jones Black Prism 1-of-1 last August sell for 100,000? Yep.
Some dude in Ohio pulled it, I think, and sold it. I think it was a kid.
Yeah, lucky. What is Max Jones going to do now? The thing is, why didn't the Patriots go after Rodgers? That doesn't make any sense. They have a great defense. Aaron Rodgers probably would clash heads with Belichick, though.
Yeah. Belichick's more of a defensive-oriented guy, though. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he would have kind of like given some slack on the leash for someone like Rodgers, who's pretty established and like
he's difficult to work with.
I'll take care of the defense. I don't know. If he ends up with the Jets, because I guess that's not like official yet. Like it's the deal's getting done or whatever, to my knowledge. I don't know if it's like technically official yet, but yeah, dude, it's kind of weird how like he was stuck behind Brett Favre and now he's like following Brett Favre's footsteps. He's gonna end up with the Jets, and
so the thing is like Aaron Rodgers. So a lot of people said that the Super Bowl was rigged, right, in favor of the Chiefs, right? The calls were going the Chiefs' way. So we know how the establishment works, right? Aaron Rodgers is not liked by the establishment because he calls them out, right? Yeah. He goes on Pat McAfee's show.
Yeah, he
talks about the island, right? And all the list, right?
Yeah.
So, if there is hanky-panky going on in the NFL where if it's a close game, they're going to go in favor of, the team they want them to win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Aaron Rodgers, winning a Super Bowl unless, they blow out the other team. If it's close, I think there are going to be calls to try to get the Jets to lose if Aaron Rodgers, keeps on speaking out the way he does. I don't know. That's just my own thoughts.
Probably. I mean, I always go back as a frame of reference on something like this. I always go back to that Seattle, New England Super Bowl. And like, it was the week leading up, they have all their all the players have press obligations, and Marshawn Lynch showed up every day. Like, I'm just here so I don't get fined, pretty much like this to the media and the NFL. And if you watch that game over again, dude, Marshawn Lynch should have got that handoff to win that Super Bowl. And I really do believe that they were like, the NFL did not want Marshawn Lynch winning that MVP because he pretty much went like that to the league that whole week leading up. They wanted Russell Westbrook to be the MVP. Russell Wilson, thank you. They wanted. I think that shit does happen. Now it could happen with coaches. It could happen with refs. I guess that's some deep tinfoil hat shit, but it's like nobody in their right mind would have thrown that pass. No one in their right fucking mind, without a gun to their head, wouldn't have given the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, I think that was the most insane call
And I
out there.
really do believe it's because the NFL did not want to see Marshawn Lynch being celebrated after what he did all week to the media, pretty much telling the NFL, "Fuck you! I'm not answering questions. I'm just here so I don't get fined."
Remember we were talking about in one of our earlier live streams, the game in the Meadowlands, where the quarterback, all he needed to do was take a knee, and then he didn't take a knee. They decided to run the ball.
Oh,
And then there's
yeah.
a fumble, and then I think it's Herm Edwards, that ex-football coach.
Yep.
He ran it in for a touchdown. This was before we were born.
It'd be the 80s, I think.
It
Or
was 70s.
70s? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like hanky panky. Like, why would you not take a freaking knee?
And it almost seems like when you watch something like that, like that's like a movie script type of shit.
Yeah.
Like for something like that to happen, it's just like, dude, that happens in like fucking Hollywood movies where it's like, oh, it was so unbelievable. It was a script. And then it happens in real life. It's just like it's hard to. I mean, you can't prove it. Everybody's gonna call you insane and this and that, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like if you're in that situation, how do you not just take a knee? How do you not just give the ball to Marshawn Lynch? It doesn't make any sense.
So the thing is that there was a journalist exposing all this and how the mafia is involved in like rigging games and all that because, you know, they owe their debts to the mafia, you know, like Donaghy.
Mm-hmm.
So then, you know, they make calls, you know, just to please, you know, the mafia or whatever, the debts that they owe.
And the thing is,
Otherwise,
this shit's not new with that, man, bro. The Black Sox back in the day with Shoeless Joe
White Sox
Jackson and shit. Everybody knows that Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano had them guys. They were infiltrated that lineup, and they had X amount of them guys throw the World Series.
They're also mad at Comiskey, the owner of the White Sox.
Yeah.
That was also it. Yeah, but yeah.
But I mean, if you're mad at your boss and the mafia's like, we're going to pay you more than he's going to pay you, just work for us. What would you do back in that day? They weren't signing them contracts they're signing today. So it's
exactly. They weren't getting Babe Ruth money. But yeah, I mean, they had to work jobs. You know that, right?
Oh,
Summer jobs, winter jobs back in the day.
Bro, that was how it used to be that way. These guys who act like, not to piggyback, I know I'm not trying to bring up the LT conversation, but when he was talking about how people were talking about the NFL being oppressive and all this stuff, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, maybe I'm crazy, but I just don't look at it that way. It's like these guys are making so much money so early, and there's so many other opportunities outside your contract. You have endorsement opportunities. You have all kinds of avenues to profit off your name. So it kind of loses me a little bit.
The thing is that, like I was getting into last week, I think some of these players are compromised because they're not dumb. They know that, okay, if you say something on social media, and they've been coached, right? Like, hey, if you get into these topics, you're going to get blowback, and it's not good for your brand if you want advertisements, right? And then I'm just thinking, wait, so why in your right mind would you say that, right? You would try to be more like Michael Jordan, like, okay, you know, I want to, you know,
I'm not going to play the politics. I'm going to appease to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if we're athletes getting paid a lot of money, I think we'd be a little more careful on how we act right now, right? We wouldn't be talking like this. But I'm just thinking they must be some of these guys are compromised. That's why I think LeBron's compromised. I don't like, I see people saying like LeBron's an idiot, this and that. And I used to think that, but I'm like, no, I don't think he's dumb. I think there's handlers telling him, hey, we got dirt on you. You got to say this.
I would agree. I mean, it works at like athletes are now celebrities. I mean, they've always been celebrities to a degree, but now the money they're making, they're now elites. And they're making the type of money that they draw major audiences. They all have Twitters and Instagram. They all have major platforms. And if you're worth that type of money, man, people are going to try to buy you out, control you, and puppet you. I mean, it's just that's how it's always been. It's
Yeah.
just different now with athletes, I think, because of the money that's being made. It's just a different world.
I mean, like, just think about it. Okay, we've observed hanky panky in sports cards, right? What hanky panky goes down in sports? Like, what type of drugs they're using? What what else are they using to cheat, right? Are they doing what the Patriots did and spied on, the Jets defense or whatever, or practice squad or whatever they did 15,
Well,
18 years ago?
what's crazy is if you go back, like we know what was going on. They were videotaping practices and shit. The
Yeah.
thing is, though, the league won't release anything. They never released what was
Yeah.
all being done. It just got brushed under the rug, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot they're covering up. I mean, like,
So it's like if they're gonna cover something up and let you know something bad did happen because they were punished for it, but they're not gonna they're not gonna give you full disclosure. It's like, well, then what are you hiding? What's the NFL hiding then?
I
It's
mean,
not just
like,
the Patriots. What's the NFL hiding? What do they know that's going on or potentially elsewhere that you don't want the people to see where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of fraud going on. There's a lot of fixing going on. There's a lot of this going on. Manipulation, if you will.
I mean, what does the NFL know about the Hamlin situation and why he got
Bro, you
suspended
know
there?
what? I wouldn't ask questions if he would have answered Michael
Yeah,
Strahan. The
yeah,
fact that he wouldn't talk about it, like, how the fuck is someone like me like gonna digest that and not think, like, not put my tinfoil hat on?
I mean, like, we know what happened. I mean, we already talked about it.
Well, it made me think, dude. We were talking about Bill Self earlier.
Yeah,
What happened to him?
but he's older though. He's
Yeah,
not like a 20-year-old.
but the thing, well, agreed. Yeah, it looks worse with Demar because it's like, what the fuck?
Wait,
But
wait.
still,
The
tight
younger,
chestness, some issues with
yeah.
Bill Self. He wasn't coaching in today's game. Is he having potential side effects to maybe something?
Is it a consequence, as they call it? Medical consequence?
I don't know. Can't talk about it
Yeah,
though.
can't talk about it. You'll be called to this or that.
Yeah, bro. I'm over it. I don't care what people call me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care either. I
Some of
lost
the
2
messages
followers
I get
after
on
that.
some of my
I don't
community
care.
type posts, and I just reply. It's like I don't really care about your feelings. Like it doesn't bother me that you feel
It's
that
like,
way.
what, F your feelings?
I don't mean to
Fact.
say that. I said, I just don't really care about your feelings on this situation. Like nothing you say is going to make me take this down. Like you
Oh, yeah.
stay offended. I'm allowed to have my thoughts and say what I want.
Yeah, and unfollow me. I don't care.
Yeah, like you don't have to look at this story or you don't have to agree with me. I'm fine with that. But like your feelings are not gonna change my mindset.
See this quote from Bob Boozle. I saw this clip from Dominique Wilkins the other day implying some fixing of the stats. That's interesting.
Yeah, I would like to know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
what's the
Like,
context?
fixing of the stats as far as like are guys like getting like are guys being prompted up in games to get their stats so they can be more marketable or what exactly he was talking about.
Um, Bob Boozle says, I think Wilkins was talking about David Robinson's 72-point game and how the coach didn't want them playing defense. I didn't
Oh.
realize David
Or maybe
Robinson.
the coach had money on that game or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, Pete Rose would bet, right?
What's that?
Pete Rose bet and he got busted, right? So they took down Pete Rose, but I don't get it. Like, why do they go after some guys and they don't go after others? That doesn't make sense to me. Is it because they have,
Like you said, man, if maybe they couldn't control Pete Rose, maybe they didn't have dirt on him, and once they did, this was their way. Maybe other guys they can control, so they don't have to. I don't know. Maybe they won't go after him because they know it's like this dude will puppet for us. We'll let it slide because he'll work with us. Maybe Pete Rose is the type of guy who's like, well, no, I'm gonna do.
I'm not playing your
They told
games.
me, and then the minute they get something on you, it's like, yeah, we got you now.
I mean, like, there were conspiracy theories about Kobe Bryant's death. on, this was done deliberately. I can't prove that.
Yeah, nobody can prove. There's some weird stuff. I've heard some weird stuff about that.
Oh, let's see. Hobbies in the chat. Sup, fellas? Just got here a minute ago. NFL is registered as a sports entertainment company like WWE.
Yeah, bro. Hobby's right. That's facts, dude. If you look at it, it's registered as entertainment. So it's like it's not about the game. It's their marketing. It's entertainment.
So that's why they're gonna try to prop up like a Mahomes. They're gonna pump. I like LT said. What the hell did they pump him up with? I don't know how you play on a ankle sprain like that and run like that.
I mean, it always used to be. I think I don't know if it's changed, but it used to be cortisone. Is what what everybody would talk about. Guys would get shot up with. A lot of ex-players used to talk about it. They get their cortisone shots, but they're so against PEDs when really the main thing of PEDs is recovery. But they'll shoot you up with this stuff that's going to long term. It's not good for you. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, allegedly LeBron James is using what's that drug? What's that UFC fighter said about it? Something.
What's his name was talking about it with
I did a video on it. I just don't remember the drug. EOP is that the drug?
Either now.
Let me look that up. Is it EOP drug? EPO.
Oh, EPO.
I never heard of it until that UFC fighter said that.
Wasn't that Shale or Shank? Son, whatever he was on with that comedian. I can't remember his name. I can't remember, but yeah, he was talking about. He said like him and I think he was even talking about John Jones was taking that stuff too. I think. Shale son, and thank you. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. AIH, what are your thoughts about MJ's gambling past and his father's death? Well, I think Michael Jordan had a very bad gambling problem, and he did. He had a bad.
He still has it, dude.
He does.
He's got the money to afford it. But anyway, I agree with you. I agree. I'm just saying it. He's probably still betting on golf outings.
So yeah, he had a gambling problem, and then I think he owed a lot of money. So the NBA was probably like, hey, play baseball. Reinsdorf is the owner of the White Sox. He owns the Bulls. Go there. Come back in 2 years. We'll just win. Do your thing. I think that's what happened.
Do you think his father's death had anything to do with his gambling debt?
Yes.
I do too, personally.
Yep.
And that's one thing on that Jordan documentary, that The Last Dance, they touched on it, but they never really covered like the fact that who he was in debt to, who he was brushing shoulders with. Like they just pretty much implied like his dad died.
Yeah, I think Jordan had editorial control. So
yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, that's just
they're not gonna do that. Hobby Shark says Redskins ruined RG3's career playing him injured, so maybe Mahomes wasn't even injured. Doubt they take a chance at hurting their golden goose.
Hey, this is about entertainment now. Yeah. Maybe that's just part of the drama piece of the script. Maybe he wasn't hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, so because if you looked at Mahomes' face, it looked really he looked like he was in pain. Yeah. But unless he was faking it.
Anymore it's hard to believe anything. So
I don't believe the mainstream narrative.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. Well, we speak the same language.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like when they say up, I'm looking down.
Down, exactly. When people give me crap, oh, you don't go to the shows. Well, I'm looking at things much differently than you are.
Dude, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't know, like, because you may not attend as many shows, like, does that discredit your takes?
I mean, I have different.
Like, I'm not a dog, but I still know what a dog is. Like, I don't have to be like, I don't know. It's like people can't critically think for themselves and have their. It almost just seems like it just seems like it's an attacking mechanism to try to like take the substance of what you're saying away, but really it has nothing to do with the substance that you're saying. How about you just like debate the idea instead of like, well, you didn't go to this show.
Oh yeah, exactly. I
Like,
should
what
be
the
kicked
fuck does
out
that
for
have
not
to do
going
with
to
my
the
take
show.
on the Herbert card or whatever? Like, it has nothing to do because I didn't go to a certain show or enough shows to meet your criteria. How many shows do you have to go to, Raul, to talk about cards? Like, what's the metric rule? What's the standard rule? Because there is none.
There's
Like you
none.
said, you enjoy buying online.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have different strategies. Like you said, you look a different direction than what the establishment says. So if everyone's going to the shows, I want to look at, okay, I don't want to compete with everyone to buy the cards at the show, and it's still an inflated market. So then what do? You know, I go elsewhere. I look online. I mean, sure, can you pay in cash and get a deal here and there? Fine, but I don't know. I still prefer buying online. Some people don't like that. That's fine. To each their own.
You should tell those people you're not buying online enough, and you can't critique my takes unless you buy online more. I mean, that's the same logic. It's just putting a shoe on the other foot. It's just, however you participate in a hobby, it's on you. You could. It's just like nobody's gatekeeping anybody from shows. Nobody's gatekeeping women. Nobody's, if you don't want to go to shows, there's other avenues to be involved in the hobby. Because you don't have a camera on you all the time doesn't mean you're not participating.
Yeah. Let's look at this. So Bob Ouzel says, guys, don't be upset. But I've been told to take you out after the first 5 minutes of the game. Clippers coach told them. Wilkins said because Donald Sterling didn't want Shaq to win the scoring title. That I don't know.
Context, I can't,
Yeah, I'd have to see more of the context.
That is kind of wild, though.
Yeah. Dan L says, card shows stink.
I will say this: I've gotten to a point where, I know what he's like. At least for me, like there's a lot of times that I'll go to shows and I'm not picking up cards like I used to. Prices, it's hard to justify. It's hard to comp some things. Like I think attendance is good, but I don't think the transactions are as good as everybody's trying to make it out to be.
I mean, the time to go to a show was 2017, 2018. That's where the deals were. You can find deals online too. So, All right. Let's maybe look at this last question. Hobby says, here's a question. Should eBay be taking a percentage of the collected sales tax? The sales tax is factored into the final value fee. Interesting. That's an interesting one. What would you say?
I mean, I don't know. I'll say this: as far as the sales tax and stuff go, I see what he's saying as far as like the final value, because when you're at a show, you avoid all that, and people want to pay under that eBay comp, and they're avoiding the taxes and they're paying under. So like the person who bought it off eBay is paying an inflated price even versus what you're seeing. So like say you see a $1,300 comp, card's probably closer to $1,400. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, the thing is,
people want to buy at 70% of that $1,300 that they see, but they don't realize that they're spending more.
I think if you have an LLC and you could get, that sales tax exemption.
Right.
So it's not always, like that. All right. Will says, damn you betas are burning the midnight oil.
Betas.
You still using the Jesse Lee Peterson?
I can't help
Right.
it. It's funny, bro. You know, it started with a meme I saw of him, bro, and I was fucking cracking up. There's this guy trying to explain something he was defending,
Yeah.
and JLP was just like beta the whole time. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, actually, Owen Benjamin actually was talking about this. This is, when he was cool with Jesse Lee, and then, he gets up to beta male.
Beta man.
That's where, and then you always said, I'm like, oh, okay, you listen to Jesse Lee Peterson. I got to spill the beans on him.
Oh, bro, when you told me that, I was like, fuck. It's still funny to me, though.
Yeah. Anyways, last words before we head off.
Jeez. Trying to think of anything that's been going on that in the hobby. Oh, yes. Everybody, we all need a moment of silence. We need Katie to come back healthy. We need to bubble wrap him, put him in a bubble. We need to keep him safe at all costs for playoff run. Again, this is part of the gatekeeping we're doing and the curating. We're going to tenderize Kevin Durant, and I'll come out with my index, and then we'll go from there.
There you go. Then you'll be associated with Jeff Wilson, and you'll no longer be on this program because you won't be allowed
to the
You're
moon,
gone.
baby. I'll be.
You'll be associating them with PWCC and all those boys of the good old boy network.
Well, it's about time I punched my ticket.
Man, it'd be funny. Last thing is if we have like out of us 6 that do the lives, one of them actually goes with the industry. That would be something. People would turn on that person big time. Just imagine like Dan the Cardman or me like took like this sponsorship and all that stuff.
Bro,
with like PWCC. People would we would be getting hostile.
Oh, dude, people would come after you hard because of all the stuff you guys have done. But the thing is, like, don't worry. When I get my sponsorship, if you guys take yours, then we can still be friends.
There you go. There you go.
I'm not against sponsorship. Not everybody that's sponsored is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
It has nefarious intent. I like to make jokes. It's funny to us because we're a group where it's like we're so anti-establishment that any little bit we're gonna make fun of it.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe a few people would be like, okay, that's fine. They've done enough for the hobby, but other Hobby Shark says, I'd body you guys. I don't want to mess with Hobby Shark. I would not mess with this guy. There's no way I would mess with this guy.
I have a Napoleon complex. I love Hobby. He's my guy. I'm not going to go after him, but big guys don't scare me. Not Hobby, though. Not pertaining to Hobby. I'd give Hobby a hug. No fist for Hobby, but big guys don't scare me. And this comes from a little dude.
What's your channel, Splenda?
I don't have one.
IG.
Yeah, I have an IG, but I don't have a channel. It's just not my thing. I'm just happy I'm invited on with you guys, man. This is as far as it goes for my content.
There we go. All right, man. I'll end it now. But thanks for coming on. Let's do this sometime soon.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'm sure we'll bullshit soon.
Yep. All right. See you, man.
Take care. God bless everybody. Peace out.
See ya.